Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest live stream. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far, or afternoon if you're over in the Eastern time zone. We do have some severe weather to get to right off the bat. We do currently have a tornado warning ongoing, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing as well. We have literally a line of storms going through Illinois this morning. This is going to continue throughout the afternoon, bringing the threat of damaging winds between 60 to 85 miles per hour. In the last 10 minutes, we've had damaging winds exceeding 80 miles per hour in Western Illinois, and we also have a tornado warning ongoing. So we're going to get to all of it, but before we get too far into it, make sure to like the stream so this gets out to more people, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get right into the tornado warning that's ongoing. This is going to include Macomb, Illinois. Currently some quarter-sized hail and as well as damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour with this storm. It is moving off to the east-northeast very quickly. Notice how fast these storms are going. 70 miles per hour off to the northeast-northeast. So it's going again very quickly. All these supercells are moving super fast, faster than you could probably drive on a freeway unless you go well over 70. But we're talking about very high wind speeds with these storms as well. We currently have over here near Macomb damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. This is where the highest wind speeds are currently located, over Carthage, Bentley, as well as near Macomb in parts of Illinois. So again, if you're anywhere in these areas and getting impacted by storms in the near term, you're going to want to make sure as these storms approach that you're getting to your safe place, away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, because the wind speeds that we've seen with these storms so far are essentially like an EF0, EF1, EF2 type, or not EF2 type, but like an EF0, EF1 type tornado with how high these wind speeds are as they continue to move off to the east. But again, this is a tornado warning ongoing. We do have some rotation located here near Macomb. That is our spot of rotation. Not overly impressive, but we are quite far away from any radar sites, so it's going to be kind of difficult to see any sort of definitive rotation this far away from a radar site. We're talking about 6,000-7,000 feet probably in elevation that we're currently looking at with these velocities, which is way off the ground. So we could see a tornado at any time. If you are in Macomb or as well as going towards Bardolph and as well as Good Hope and Bushnell, you're going to want to make sure you get to your safe place, away from windows and as well as lowest floor possible. We also have a brand new tornado warning that was just issued as we're going live. This is going to be near La Harpe, and this is moving off to the northeast, going towards Roseville and as well as Raritan and Stronghurst. If you're in those areas, make sure that you are seeking shelter, away from windows and lowest floor possible. Again, the rotation might not look overly impressive to you, but with how fast these storms are moving, we could see a tornado spawn very quickly and as well as for a very short amount of time, and that could happen in between radar scans. So you got to kind of keep that in mind here. These storms are moving. Look at this one, almost 80 miles per hour off to the east northeast. One of the fastest storms I've seen in a very long time. 80 miles per hour going off to the east northeast. Again, these storms are racing off to the east right now through Illinois. Again, right now we have all the supercells that are currently ongoing in this cluster of storms is all back in western Illinois. So you'll notice all the storms that are ongoing, producing damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. That's the main concern for the storms that are tornado warned. So near Burlington, going towards Galesburg and Farmington. Canton will be in the track of this here pretty soon. Peoria definitely has to stay on alert here. I mean, these storms are racing, so I'm going to put a timeline on these storms so you get an idea when they're going to actually arrive, because they are going so fast. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening in a very short amount of time. So if you're under any warnings, you definitely want to make sure you're taking them seriously. These are much faster than they usually are in terms of speed, but this is the current timing. So I mean, we're talking Peoria will probably get hit within the next hour. These storms are pretty far back to the west, but this is an estimate with 75-mile-per-hour storms, very quick moving, and it'll eventually get to the eastern side of the state near Champaign probably just after 1 o'clock today. So again, these are moving very quickly. So if you're any warnings today, make sure that you are again taking it as if it is like a tornado warning. If you're not under a tornado warning, if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, you're going to want to make sure you're taking it like it is a tornado warning though, because these storms again producing very high winds and as well as that tornado risk, and we already have that. Real quickly, a couple of the reports that we've had out of these storms in the last 20 minutes. We had estimated 80-mile-per-hour damaging winds near Fort Madison. That is over in Lee County, Iowa, so very southeastern parts of Iowa. We've had damaging winds estimated between 70 to 80 miles per hour over near Moore. That's again in Lee County, Iowa. So basically on the very far western side of Illinois is where these reports have been pretty much focused around here, and that's because all the storms are in this area. But again, the velocities on radar are very impressive. I mean, when you look at this area here, that is representing very high wind speeds, especially in that core. And that's again where we do have tornado warnings ongoing. So really got to take this very seriously. If you're anywhere in these warnings, make sure that you are seeking shelter, away from windows and lowest floor possible. There is a severe thunderstorm storm watch that was also issued about 15 maybe minutes ago. That's going to include a large chunk, excuse me, of Illinois as well as northwest Indiana. This is going to include Chicago, Champaign, Charleston, Salem, and as well as Peoria, LaSalle, and Springfield. All these areas included until 5 p.m. Central Time. This is for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, hail up to tennis ball size, and as well as the threat for a few tornadoes are possible. That does not mean likely, it means possible, so that we might see a few tornadoes out of this. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a few tornadoes. The thing is, these tornadoes that we're going to see are going to probably be pretty quick, so the only really way that we'll probably be able to know if there's a tornado is if there's some sort of observation, or if the radar scan is perfect and it sees that tight rotation when there's a tornado on the ground, which is very hard to tell with how fast these storms are moving. Again, these storms, if you're just tuning in, are racing off to the east-northeast at approximately 70 to 80 miles per hour. Very quick moving storms. Here's one area of rotation and the other one's back up here near La Harpe. Again, they don't look overly impressive, but they are definitely rotating. So again, we could see a tornado at any time, and we've already had one confirmed tornado so far today. That was a bit further back out to the west. I believe that was near Garin. There was a law enforcement confirmed tornado just southeast of Memphis over in northeast Missouri. So we did have a confirmed tornado there. Again, these are very quick moving storms, so tornadoes could legitimately happen at any time. So make sure you're taking those proper precautions. But again, we do have 2 tornado warnings ongoing. One other thing to mention, this isn't it for severe weather. We have more severe weather ongoing back down in Tennessee and Kentucky. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. And back down in Kentucky near Bowling Green, we have storms producing damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour moving down to the south. Some of these are knocking down trees and all that sort of stuff. So again, you just want to make sure that you're staying safe today, getting away from windows as these storms go by. Near Evansville, back down in South Indiana, we had damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. We've had flooding reports. It's been a very hectic morning to say the least so far here across the Midwest and parts of the Ohio Valley. So again, make sure that you are taking all warnings very seriously. Further off to the north, we've had wind gusts around 50 to 60 miles per hour back up in southeast parts of Iowa. This is going to be a bit further to the north of the main activity. So near Washington, there's been some of that activity, but overall, those storms on the northern side of this going towards Davenport are weakening a bit, but they are likely going to re-strengthen as they move throughout Illinois. As we have a lot more instability available across Illinois, these storms should be able to ramp up even more than what they already are. So that's definitely a bit of a concern as well, as these storms again continue to move off to the east. All right, let's go back to the velocities again. We do have 2 areas of rotation, one near Macomb and again another one near La Harpe. Both of them currently at this time are broad, but they are still going to be able to produce a potential for a tornado as they move off to the east. So you definitely want to make sure that you are prepared as these storms continue to move off to the east. They're going to be a little bit further off here to the east now. So Macomb, the rotation is pretty much overhead. So if you're in Macomb, get to a safe place now. A new warning will likely be issued within the next 5 minutes is my guess for Galesburg, Canton, and maybe Harvana. But yeah, again, Peoria is going to be in the track of this probably within the next 30 minutes is my guess. Again, these storms are absolutely racing off to the east. I cannot stress that enough. They are going super fast, around 70 to 80 miles per hour. So crazy stuff that's happening. Again, if you're just tuning in and you have anybody in the path of these storms here in Illinois or anywhere elsewhere, make sure that you are giving them a heads up. Make sure they're alert. Just give them a call, a text. Make sure they're aware because these storms again are going so fast. I mean, we've seen storms go 70 to 80 miles per hour before, but this is probably the first time this year, I'd say, that we've had storms going this fast, and it's definitely very concerning because we're going to see warnings getting issued left and right probably here over the next hour, but again, if you're in Peoria or Davenport, make sure you're staying alert, but definitely anywhere here, Peoria, Lincoln, Springfield, those areas definitely have to be on alert. These are the next 3 areas that are really definitely in the track of these storms within the next hour, maybe hour and a half for Springfield. But yeah, again, crazy stuff that we're seeing here. Tornado warnings do continue for Macomb, and again, for those in Roseville, I'm going to see if we have any reports on these storms. But again, these are currently moving off to the east-northeast at about 80 miles per hour. So very quick moving cells. We also do have a new NATO cast. By the way, the next Storm Prediction Center update comes out in 22 minutes, but the NATO cast today pretty much focusing the tornado threat across areas in central Illinois, but again, that's just one forecast. Definitely a concern, though, is going to be that tornado risk, even over there. But it's definitely a little bit more concerning over the next hour. A lot of instability available out in front of these storms. So once they go through central Illinois, they'll have a lot more instability to work with. And therefore, we're probably going to see an increased risk of not just damaging winds, but also the potential for a tornado. So definitely possible there. Also, we will have Vince, I believe, today. I am not 100% sure. I'm not sure when he's going live, but we'll have a storm chaser with us, possibly. I'm pretty sure we will, but I could be wrong. I don't think he's already live yet, but let me just double check here. Yeah, he's not live yet. So that's a possibility. We might have a storm chaser with us at some point, but no guarantees on that. Vince has been working on his car recently, so I'm not sure if he'll be with us today. All right, back to the rotation. We do have strengthening rotation. This is as of 11:07, so this is the latest radar scan that we have coming in. Rotation located over Macomb, another one north east of La Harpe, moving off to the east-northeast. Again, very quick moving cells, no correlation coefficient drop, which does mean that we've not seen any debris being lifted up by these tornadic cells yet. Again, neither of these storms so far, from what we know, have produced a tornado, but a tornado could happen in between radar scans here in western Illinois. So you definitely want to make sure you're staying aware of these storms, getting away from windows, lowest floor possible. Again, if you're in Bushnell, you need to get to your safe place now. This is not a slow-moving storm. This is going, again, 70 to 80 miles per hour off to the east-northeast. We had a confirmed tornado about 40 minutes ago back over northeast Missouri. That was a brief tornado, but it happened back over in northeast Missouri. It was a brief tornado reported by law enforcement. So that's obviously a possibility with these storms. We very well could see a brief tornado happen out of these at any time. And this rotation, by the way, back up here, northeast of La Harpe is fairly strong and tight. So this could produce a tornado now. It might have already done so. It could happen in the next couple of minutes. So again, if you're in Roseville, make sure you get to your safe place, as well as Raritan. And if you're anywhere just to the west of Prairie City, back into that warning, definitely make sure you get to your safe place. Monmouth as well. So I might not be saying these names right, by the way. I'm just going to kind of pronounce them the best way I can. But if you're over in that area as well, if you're on the south and east side of the town, you should be in your safe place. But otherwise, you are fine if you're on the north and west side of the town. It looks to be right now for the highest damaging wind potential, upwards of 80 miles per hour, is located here. This severe thunderstorm warning that we have is for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. This is a destructive supercell, or destructive cluster of storms, really, that's moving through areas near the Macomb and as well as Bushnell, Illinois area. So if you're in these areas, make sure again that you're seeking shelter away from windows, lowest floor possible. Definitely make sure that you are treating this severe thunderstorm warning as if it is a tornado warning. Very dangerous cells here. Moving off to the east, we also have a potential for some hail, but we've not had a whole lot of hail reports out of this. It's been mostly a lot of rain driven, or a lot of rain, wind, basically rain being driven by wind. So we've got a lot of blowing rain basically, which is going to definitely reduce the visibility with a lot of these people that are traveling here during the almost the lunchtime hour now. And in addition to that, again, the tornado risk is definitely going to start increasing over the next hour as these storms move off to the east. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, which I kind of predicted within the next 5 minutes. It was 4 minutes, but we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. That's for Galesburg, Farmington, Canton, and Bing Dong, and this is going to be for the potential for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, and as well as the threat of half-dollar sized hail. Again, this is a destructive supercell. You want to make sure if you're anywhere in these areas, get to your safe place as soon as possible. These storms are moving at about 70 miles per hour off to the east-northeast. These are not slow moving. They are going the speed of a car on a freeway. You want to make sure you're getting to your safe place away from windows, lowest floor possible. Within the next couple of minutes, if you're in Galesburg, Canton, again, anywhere in the severe thunderstorm warning west of Peoria, you definitely want to make sure, again, to your safe place. Again, very dangerous cell here that is moving off to the east-northeast. And we do have a potential for a tornado within these storms as well. So you'll notice here, again, we have the 2 tornado warnings. These are currently they've not yet been continued, but there's a chance that we see these tornado warnings get continued as they continue to move off to the east-northeast. But as of right now, strengthening the rotation again near Macomb, so we could have a potential tornado at any time. Rotation further back up here to the north is a bit broader, but we could again see a tornado legitimately at any time with these storms. They are very quick moving. That means the velocities are going to be very quick. We could very well see a tornado happen really at any time, and it could happen in between radar scans. So definitely a concern there. Correlation coefficient, though, is not indicating any sort of tornado yet picking up debris, but we could see a tornado in between radar scans, so that can kind of throw that sort of model out the window in that sort of regard. But again, that's where our strongest rotation is out in this entire line of storms. Highest wind speeds around 80 miles per hour, definitely gonna be located there near Macomb, just west of Macomb. That's where the winds are really picking up. And if you're in Macomb, Illinois, by the way, you definitely want to make sure you're still in your safe place. Even though the rotation's kind of to your east now, the highest of the wind speeds are literally over top of you, which could very well be exceeding 80 miles per hour. The tornado warning, by the way, has continued. It's still continuing for La Harpe, Roseville, Cameron, and as well as Stronghurst. So the tornado warning on the north side of this area is going to continue. That's, again, for a population of about 6,500. That is another area that we still have a little bit of rotation. Again, it's been kind of hit or miss, but there is rotation in there. We could see a tornado drop at any time there. But the most likely area for a tornado at this point would be embedded in these storms that we're seeing here near the Macomb, and as well as the La Harpe area. That is where we're definitely seeing more concern there. Further back out to the west, we have a new damage report coming in Ferris, Illinois. There was several trees reported down across a roadway. So that is brand new there back over near Carthage, and that is definitely a concern here. We're gonna have a lot of trees down. That's another thing, another reason why you should be staying away from windows with any sort of severe thunderstorm warning. Damaging winds of between 60 to 80 miles per hour can knock over trees. They can fall into your house, and they very well could possibly go through a roof. So you want to be aware of that. Staying away from windows and on the lowest floor possible is what you should be doing as these storms continue to pass off to the east. And again, Peoria is definitely a bit more concerning here. You'll be in the track of this within probably the next half hour, if not sooner. We're gonna go ahead and put another timing guide on this. I'll just give you an idea of what the timing looks like on these storms. But again, moving about 70 to 75 miles per hour. We're going to go ahead and do that. So again, right now, Peoria is in track for these storms within the next 45 minutes. That's the current estimated timing. Again, it could be a little bit later, it could be a little bit earlier than that, but that's, again, the estimated timing. So just be prepared around that time. Make sure you're prepared now, well ahead of these storms. But again, the storms will be arriving probably in Peoria within the next 45 minutes or so. Maybe slightly after that. We'll see how these storms continue to progress off to the east, but they've been moving very quickly, without a doubt. Most likely going to get towards Champaign just after 1 o'clock this afternoon. So if you're over in Champaign, Illinois, definitely make sure that you're prepared well ahead of time as these storms do approach. Damaging winds is the main concern, though, today with any of these supercells that continue to move off to the east with this cluster of storms. So again, damaging winds is the main concern. That's what you definitely want to make sure you're aware of. The potential for a tornado does exist with these storms as well. We very well could see a couple tornadoes, maybe even a few tornadoes as these move off to the east, most of which will probably be brief. And then also the large hail potential still does exist. It's just gonna be a bit of the lower end of stuff. So those are the main concerns today. And also, one other thing, I haven't actually mentioned this yet, but this is the risk of severe weather today. So we are currently in that enhanced risk of severe weather, which does include, again, Northeast Missouri, which Northeast Missouri is about to be done with severe weather after these storms move out of the state. But for those over in Illinois, almost the entire state, at least the majority of the state, is included in that enhanced risk of severe weather. There's also an enhanced risk back down in Northwest Kentucky, which we're already seeing severe storms there right now. We might see a little bit more later today. And then also back over in Indiana, there's an enhanced risk. Chicago is also in that slight risk. We could see some damaging winds in that area, but definitely the damaging wind potential is the main concern here for the next few hours. Let's go back to the radar. We do have a new radar scan that has just come in. Let's go and check that out. And as of right now, it looks like, again, mostly the damaging wind threat going through Bushnell and Good Hope. It could, again, produce a tornado risk at any time. So these storms, again, are capable of producing a tornado. But again, the rotation is going to be very quick, and it's going to be very hit or miss here. We're not going to be able to see every scan of that rotation. Right now, it looks to be a bit broader, though. But again, we've seen these storms really rotate at times and then really weaken out quickly. So since these storms are just moving so fast, it's going to be one of those things where you just want to make sure you're in your safe place, because a tornado could happen, again, in between radar scans. It could really legitimately happen at any time. I cannot stress that enough. If you're in those tornado warnings, make sure you're still in your safe place. Right now is a good time if you're in Canton or Smithfield or Avon. Really, if you're on the west side of this warning, you definitely want to make sure you're in your safe place now. These damaging winds are going to be approaching very quickly. If you're back over in Canton, Farmington, as well as Galesburg, you've got a couple of minutes, but I would definitely make sure you're starting to get to your safe place as these storms do approach. Peoria, again, next place in the track, about 12 o'clock or so is when those storms will be arriving towards your location. So if you're back over in Peoria, you're going to want to make sure that you're staying safe and getting aware of these storms. Make sure you're aware, if you know anybody in Peoria as well, make sure that they are aware of these storms as they continue to move off to the east. Thank you, Purple, by the way, for becoming a minimum velocity member. Also, thank you, DK, for becoming a 9-month VIP velocity member. I appreciate that. Let's get some claps in the chat for both Purple and DK for becoming members, and as well as the renewal. Appreciate it. All right, I'm going to check out some new reports here as well. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening right now, so we're going to keep up to date with the latest. I will not probably be answering a ton of questions during this live stream, or at least for right now, because we have so much stuff going on, but I'll be trying to answer a few. I'll try to answer as many as I can, but hopefully the timing guide's probably going to be your best bet here with what I've already kind of said. Peoria, again, around 12. Chicago activity, probably going to be later this afternoon. Better chance this evening, actually, of severe weather in Peoria. Or not Peoria, excuse me, in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, there's a better chance of severe weather later today. You do have a chance of possibly some severe storms around 3 to 4 o'clock, but the chances right now of that happening are probably a bit lower. I would expect more of an evening threat, because the main reason why is because this line of storms will not be nearly as intense as this moves off to as it moves off to the east. It's going to remain its intensity, but further off to the north, it's going to be less intense. It's going to be much more intense though in this area. I mean, we're going to be talking about, again, damaging winds upwards of 80 to 85 miles per hour, maybe a few tornadoes as well up here near Chicago with this line of storms. And you already can kind of notice here, it's a lot weaker here near Davenport, and so that trend will continue towards Chicago, but there will be a bit more of a concerned with a couple of maybe discrete cells forming later today. Those could produce maybe some sporadic hail and damaging wind gusts. But I think, again, the threat of that should remain somewhat on the low side this afternoon. But it's definitely more concerning with this line of storms throughout the next couple of hours as these storms continue to march out to the east. All right. Here's a little bit of a loop, by the way. You can kind of see how these storms have progressed. They're moving again very quickly off to the east, but that's currently the loop here. And if there's any new updates on these tornado warnings, we'll keep you posted. But we do, again, have 2 tornado warnings ongoing. We'll keep you posted if anything does change on either one of them. Peoria, thank you. Also, friendly reminder, if you're just tuning in, make sure to like the stream. Helps get this out to more people that are in the track of these storms. And also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We'll keep you posted with the latest on the severe weather throughout the afternoon, as these storms, again, continue to progress off to the east and east-northeast. Again, Peoria will be in the track of this within the next 40 minutes or so. So if you're in Peoria, you want to make sure that you are prepared for these storms as they quickly move off to the east. Again, we are watching, or really literally witnessing storms moving off to the east at approximately 70 miles per hour, which is pretty fast. Again, that is basically the speed of somebody going on I-74 right now. That's about 70 miles per hour. I think I'm pretty sure I-74 is a 70 mile per hour road. I could be wrong, but if it is, that's pretty much the speed of what people are doing right now. I mean, that's what the speed of these storms are. It's very comparable at this point with the storms that we have out there. Macomb is still in that tornado warning, mainly for a high wind threat though now. So if you're in Macomb, you're really watching more for a damaging wind potential. The tornado risk is right now going to be moving now into areas like Avon, London Mills, Fairview, Cuba, as well as Canton, in parts of western Illinois. So this is west of Peoria, and then back over near Roseville. That area is going to probably transition to more of a damaging wind threat now if you've not already seen that. There's still a little bit of broad rotation back west of Avon, but again, we could see a tornado drop at any time. These storms are really rapidly either strengthening or weakening. They are kind of going back and forth right now. And then back near Bushnell, that's where we have the highest wind speeds. That's going to be moving and progressing off to the east towards Canton, St. David, Fairview, Farmington, and Cuba, and possibly London Mills as well. But again, damaging wind potential up to 80 miles per hour will exist as these storms move off to the east. Again, these are highly capable storms of very high winds, and as well as the potential for a few tornadoes is not out of the question, as well as some large hail. Again, we might have Storm Chaser Vince with us later. I'm not entirely sure though. I don't think I've seen any updates from him, but if he does go live, we'll have a live view of these storms as well. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what he's exactly up to today. He might be just working on his car. This is one of my earlier live streams in quite a while. I mean, it's about lunchtime in Eastern time, but I usually don't go live this early. I usually wake up around 11, so pretty much what we're working with right now. A little bit of an interesting start here. By the way, new Storm Prediction Center update will be coming out in approximately 10 minutes if there's any updates on today's severe weather outlook. So if we have any new information, I'll let you know. If not, then, there won't be any new information. Let's kind of tell you whatever's, kind of happened. We'll see. I'm not sure if we'll have a whole lot of new information about this. I think really overall, though, for the rest of this afternoon, it's primarily going to be that damaging wind potential going through areas like Peoria, Champaign, Springfield, Charleston, Effingham, as well as Ottawa, maybe Chicago as well, but that'll probably be more of a mid to late afternoon threat. We do have some new wind gust reports coming out of these storms. A new confirmed report out of Blandonsville of a 74 mile per hour wind gust. This is confirmed, by the way. So we now have a confirmed report of 74 mile per hour wind gusts out of the McDonald County, Illinois area, and that's again going to be including Blandonsville. That's where the confirmation came out of the observation, and then a 60 mile per hour observation back down near Camden. That's near Littleton, Illinois. So 2 new reports there. We're getting a lot of reports. If you have any reports, by the way, any photos or videos, you can feel free to tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. That is MaxVelocityWX on Twitter. You can find me all over there. You can also click the link in the description if you have any photos or videos. Again, make sure you're taking any photos and videos very safely and away from windows, preferably as nothing's really happening. That's, really the best thing that you can do. And obviously, another concern with these storms is that there's going to be a lot of lightning, and I'm actually going to check how much lightning we have with these storms right now, but there's probably a lot of lightning right now near the Peoria area, just west of there. We're going to check out how much lightning's happening, but we currently have approximately 165 lightning strikes per minute with these storms. For reference, that is 165 times 15. That is approximately 2,500 lightning strikes per 15 minutes with these storms. That's about 3 lightning strikes every second. Latest estimates are actually closer to 240, so that's about 4 lightning strikes per second across this area. I mean, it's not just including one storm. It's pretty much this entire cluster here. So, I mean, we're talking about a pretty large area, but that's a lot of lightning. That's without a doubt. So there's definitely be a lot of lightning with these storms. So make sure you're taking them seriously. Going indoors. If you're, if thunder roars, go indoors. If you have any outdoor activities today, make sure you're definitely considering putting them inside, because it's going to be a pretty long afternoon here, and as well as the late morning. We're still in the late morning here in Illinois, but oh yeah, the other thing is all the smoke, all the wildfire smoke. That actually could impact a little bit of the storm activity back over to the east. I'll have to see if I can pull up the smoke map here, but the smoke is one of those other things that actually, believe it or not, can play a factor in the storm activity. It doesn't usually play a huge factor, but it can a little bit. But any rain that we see will actually kind of help the air quality a little bit. It'll reduce the level of what it's at. So it'll be a little bit better. I'm going to see if I can pull up that map, though. But yeah, the air quality back out to the east has been pretty poor today. I was actually meaning to mention that in yesterday's video, but I never really got around to it. Yeah, we have a ton of smoke right now. I mean, this is currently what it looks like. I'll just pull it up really quickly since we're on a tornado warning, but this is what it looks like currently on the map. So again, a lot of smoke back over near the Great Lakes. It won't really improve the, you'll actually notice here the rain, it really improves the air quality a ton. You'll see that, look at that. I mean, all that white there means like there's no issues with smoke or anything. So any rain that you see will improve that air quality. That's just one of those little things that you kind of look forward to if you're back over in the Midwest right now and you're like, oh, all this haze, all the smoke, it's awful. Well, this will help a little bit. I mean, it's not going to help entirely, but it'll at least help reduce that smoke a little bit, and as well as improve the air quality a bit as well as these storms move off to the east, which is good news. But yeah, definitely for areas near Chicago and really anywhere in Illinois right now, it's definitely really good news overall. But yeah, also quick update back over in Kentucky and Tennessee. Not something we're going to be really talking about a whole lot here, but there are some storms here producing damaging winds. Very impressive line of storms producing, this storm, for example, near Madisonville in Kentucky, knocked over a large oak tree in Madisonville, and we've also seen some sporadic hail and some other damage reports. So if you're back over in this area, going through Tennessee like Nashville, we'll keep a close eye on this, but if you're in Nashville, definitely be prepared for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, maybe a little bit of hail. Tornado risk should remain extremely low down there. The tornado risk, though, back over in Illinois is a different story. It's definitely a bit higher over this direction. We're getting a lot of reports now out of a Macomb of damage. Let's go and kind of break down that stuff. So out of Macomb, we have an 80+ mile per hour wind and a mature evergreens snapped at base. So this is over Macomb. So somebody is reporting, a trained weather spotter is reporting 80+ mile per hour winds. That is, again, very dangerous back over in Macomb. And then another tree is down on a house and power lines are down in Macomb as of 11:15. So new reports coming out of there, very high winds. That's the, really the biggest concern right now. And as well as a tree knocked over into a home and power lines. So again, if you're anywhere out in front of these storms, you want to make sure you're prepared. Peoria especially, it's a very populated area. You need to make sure you're on alert there. If you know anybody in Peoria or anywhere in the suburbs as well, really anywhere in the track of these storms, you want to make sure you give them a call or text. Make sure they're prepared for these storms. It's going to be a very active late morning as well as into the afternoon. Again, we are watching for a damaging wind potential of 80 miles per hour for Galesburg, Canton, Marietta, Avon, and as well as Farmington. All these areas right now in that warning for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. We've had a lot of damage reports coming out of Macomb already, 2 of them, and we're probably going to see a lot more over the next few minutes, is my guess at this point. Thank you for Jill for becoming a moderate velocity member. I appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to the velocities. All right, well, I just said the tornado threat would be really low down here. We do have a new tornado warning. That's going to include areas near Bowling Green, just south of there. So if you're in this area, seek shelter immediately away from windows and lowest floor possible. This rotation seems to be broad, but we could see a possible tornado here. It's probably going to be back up, and here's my guess. There's a very tiny spot of rotation near Bowling Green. Yeah, that's going to be where that rotation's located. So if you're back down south of Bowling Green, seek shelter away from windows, lowest floor possible. I obviously just kind of jinxed it, but very low does not mean 0, by the way. But there is a tornado warning here. So if you're in Bowling Green, east of Franklin, Woodburn, west of Scottsville over in Kentucky, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Again, rotation at this current time is a little bit on the broad side. It was a little bit stronger, though, it looks like right there. And there's a possibility as well a little bit further down to the south here near Woodburn, possibly right there as well. So we have a couple small spots of rotation. If there were to be a tornado in either spot, I mean, the one back up near Bowling Green, if there were to be a tornado there near 68, which is probably unlikely, but if there were to be one there, it'd be very tiny. The one near Woodburn, possibly a little bit larger, but it wouldn't be probably that bad. It would probably just be a brief and weak tornado near Interstate 65. So again, if you're in this area, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. These storms, again, moving down to the east, or not, sorry, not the east, the south-southeast. That's what I meant to say. So that's currently going on there. We'll keep a close eye on that storm as well, but as of right now, the radar scan's coming in every few minutes. Yeah, so again, I'm not entirely sure if we'll have Vince. He's a Vince Walty. I'm not sure if we'll have him for today as a storm chaser, but we'll see. By the way, that tornado warning for Kentucky does include Allen, Simpson, and Warren counties. Those are the counties included. Again, that is just south of Bowling Green. Bowling Green's kind of on the cusp of that tornado warning. So if you're in Bowling Green, again, make sure you're staying in your safe place. If you have any damage reports behind these storms, by the way, always filter those into the National Weather Service. Give them a phone call, your local National Weather Service office. That's always the best place to do that. But if you do have any other reports of damage and you've already done that, you can feel free to send them in to me either by chat, or you can go ahead and send it to me via Twitter, either one. And again, my Twitter handle is @MaxVelocityWX. The 2 tornado warnings for right now have expired. Right now, let's go to the velocities. You'll notice the storms here west of Peoria are definitely going to be probably more capable of a damaging wind threat. That's really what this has turned into, is really a damaging wind potential as these move off to the east. We also have the potential for possibly a tornado. The threat does remain low right now with this storm, but we could see maybe a isolated tornado with this storm. There is a tornado possible label on this particular area of storms, which is producing damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour near Canton, Galesburg, and west of Peoria. So if you're in this area, again, anywhere in the warning, you need to be in your safe place now. Treat this as if it's a tornado warning and stay away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. Back over in Peoria, this storm area, or this area of storms will be arriving to your location probably within the next half hour, so make sure you're prepared for that. West of Springfield, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and as well as some quarter-sized hail. That does include Beardstown, Jacksonville, and a couple other areas as well, like Havana, and as well as Astoria and Mason City. All right, let's go back down to the tornado warning near Bowling Green. We're going to kind of check this one out, see if there's any new details here. We haven't looked at it in a second. And this is what it looks like now. Again, a bit of broader rotation as of right now. This is kind of your winds going away from the radar. That's going towards the radar. It's a bit of a broader area of rotation. That's where the tornado would likely happen, though, if there were to be one. So kind of south now of Bowling Green. That's the main location of rotation. Again, if you're anywhere south of Bowling Green, near Scottsville, anywhere in the pink box, the pink polygon, just make sure you're in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible. And if you're in an apartment building, go down to the bottom floor. And, you know, if you have a neighbor, at least go down to the bottom floor and make sure you, again, with the, it's always a good idea, by the way, if you have a, if you live in an apartment building and you're not on the first floor, get to know a neighbor on the first floor and say, hey, if there's a tornado warning, can I come to your room? I mean, like, just, you know, say that. Always a good idea, especially with storms like this. It's definitely a very dangerous sort of aspect when we have tornado warnings like this. But again, this tornado warning in particular would probably only produce a brief tornado. This isn't capable really of a strong long track type tornado with this cluster of storms. And the wind shear is definitely lesser down here currently, but a very impressive line of storms to say the least. You'll notice, I mean, we definitely have a very defined little bowing area of storms going down towards Tennessee, so definitely a concern here. That was a horrible line, but this is what we're looking at right now for the damaging winds, all pushing down to the south. You kind of notice that bow, it looks kind of like a bow and arrow. That's why you call it a bowing line of storms, but that's what we're seeing currently right there. New wind gust report, or actually, never mind, excuse me, that is an old one. That was from about 15 minutes ago. But if you're just tuning in, back over in Macomb, as of about 11:15, with this particular area of storms that's going towards Peoria, it has produced damaging winds upwards, if not exceeding 80 miles per hour in Macomb. That was according to a trained spotter in the area. In addition to that, we had a tree down on a home, and also we have another report coming in of a railroad gate snapped off by strong winds. I don't know what exactly a railroad. Oh, actually, no, I do know what that is. I was thinking we were talking about something else. But a railroad gate was snapped off. That's one of the things that goes up and down. So I don't know why I just thought I didn't know that. But yeah, that's over in Macomb. We did have a railroad gate that got snapped off by high winds, which is probably pretty high winds. I'm not sure how strong those things are, but I'm not sure if anybody exactly knows how strong a railroad gate is and how much wind it can usually hold up by. It could have been an older one, but that is Again, we had a report of upwards, if not exceeding 80-mile-per-hour winds in Macomb, so it's not out of the question that we just saw, you know, exceeding 80-mile-per-hour winds destroy that railroad gate. That's pretty high winds, I would say, more than anything, but that's a new report that we just had coming out of there. Current tornado warning is actually, let me go ahead and put down the, let me just change the title real quick. But we have the tornado warning's back right now in Illinois. I've canceled as of about 5 minutes ago. And then for the tornado warning down in Kentucky, this one's still ongoing, got issued about 5 minutes ago. This is moving down to the east, or excuse me, I keep saying east, south-southeast. Right now the rotation's still a little bit broader, so you'll kind of notice the rotation's really in here. So it's going to be a couple miles east of Woodburn, south of Bowling Green. This is going to be pushing down to the south-southeast, and it'll eventually go into Tennessee here pretty shortly, within the next 10 to 15 minutes. This is also another quick area of moving storms back south of Bowling Green, moving around 35 to 40 miles per hour, so about half the speed of the storms back up in Illinois. The storms back over in Illinois, by the way, are moving off to the east at approximately 70 miles per hour. The ones specifically going towards Peoria are moving at about 70 miles per hour off to the east. So these ones in particular moving down more to the south, but more than anything, they are still moving pretty quickly at around 35 to 40 miles per hour. But this tornado warning, again, there's some broad rotation. I would say alert if you're back down anywhere in northern Tennessee as well, but Woodburn, make sure you're in your safe place now. Anywhere else in that pink polygon, make sure you are in your safe place. Bowling Green, I'd still stay in your safe place for the damaging wind threat, but the rotation has already passed you, so you're no longer really looking at a tornado threat, but there might be some damaging winds. So be prepared for that. But otherwise, we are still looking at more of a high wind threat currently back over in areas in Illinois. We're going to go ahead and change over the little slide here for just a second. We're going to kind of stay on these storms for a minute. But again, Peoria will be in the impact area probably within the next 25 minutes. Let's go and put on a timing guide. If you are in Illinois, we're going to kind of give you an idea of when these storms will end up impacting your location. Again, they are moving quite quickly off to the east, most of which are moving about 70 miles per hour off to the east. But again, Peoria is currently in track for these storms within the next 25 minutes, possibly even sooner. So Peoria could be watching for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. That's the current main concern, but there's also a chance for an isolated tornado. If you're back down near Springfield, probably going to be more of a damaging wind threat, but again, brief tornado threat is not out of the question. Same thing with Lincoln. If you're back over near Normal, same thing as well, damaging winds being the main concern. Back over on the eastern side of the state, we got quite a while until these storms reach you, but if you're over in Champaign, that's also a concern, damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. Charleston, Effingham, all in the same boat. Chicago is going to be a bit more of a conditional threat. We might see storms there, but it's a bit on the lower side. If you see any severe weather, damaging winds is the main concern right now for Chicago. Elsewhere, again, we do have a couple other severe thunderstorm watches ongoing further to the south. These are going to include areas in Tennessee and as well as Kentucky for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, possibly, again, an isolated brief tornado, which is why we have a tornado warning ongoing there. And then the severe thunderstorm watch across Illinois and as well as northwest Indiana is currently for the threat of damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, and as well as the threat for tennis ball sized hail. That's the maximum hailstone size. Most of the storms, though, I don't think are going to get past 10 or even past quarter sized, honestly. It's going to be a very low chance that we get much further beyond that. There will be enough instability, though, to the point where if there's any cells that kind of get out in front of the entire line, or if they become discrete, we could see that hail threat get up to tennis ball size. But it's going to really be a more conditional threat for hail more than anything. The damaging wind threat is pretty much a given with most of these storms at this point. We're going to be watching for scattered to numerous damaging winds around 80 miles per hour as these continue to move off to the east. So that's definitely the main concern right now. But again, the main city in the track of these storms right now is Peoria, and as well as Springfield will be in the track of this here pretty soon. But we do have severe thunderstorm warnings up. Again, damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour possible for Galesburg, as well as Canton. Canton, if you're not already, get to your safe place now. Peoria will be in a new warning, most likely within the next 10 minutes, maybe even sooner. Probably within the next 5 is my guess here. We also have a report of construction signs blown all over the road. Usually construction signs being blown all over the road is not always from very high winds, like exceeding 80 miles per hour, but it can sometimes be just from, 50 to 60 mile per hour winds even. So that is one thing to keep in mind. It depends on what kind of, if they're actually put into the ground or something like that. If they're put into the ground, it's a different story. But if they're just like those little fold up construction signs, they usually won't really have, many issues falling over with even wind speeds around 50 miles per hour. So I do appreciate the report. If you have any reports, feel free to leave them in the chat. Also, if you have any reports, photos, videos, anything like that, you can go over to our Twitter page and at me, at MaxVelocityWX. That's also linked in the description. If you have any photos, videos, or any reports, you can also send those over there. I am checking Twitter frequently, so if you have any photos or videos, feel free to send those in. But again, please do not take photos or videos unsafely. Make sure you're taking them very safely away from windows. I would appreciate it. Please do not. I'm not looking for you to send me photos of being outside in the storm. That's just not what I'm looking for. If you have like any, far distant storms from you and you want to take a picture, that's fine. But damaging winds are really ramping up here near Canton, and the problem is these storms are moving so fast. I mean, they're again moving around 70 to 80 miles per hour here. This particular area of storms is moving faster than a car would travel on Interstate 74, going in the slow lane at least. If you're on Interstate 74, maybe 65 miles per hour. Essentially, these storms are moving faster than that. They're going about 70 miles per hour off to the east, and so these storms will be in Peoria within the next 20 minutes. Again, they're moving very quickly. We do have a small area of storms out in front of the initial line, so Peoria will actually see storms within the next 5 minutes, but those are not severe. The ones that are severe are back near Canton. Thank you, Justin, for becoming a Maximum Velocity member. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get some claps in the chat for Justin becoming a Maximum Velocity member. Appreciate it. We do have a report coming out of Jennings Creek in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Here's the hailstone size sent in, and you find this name again, but this is some of the hail that we just saw come out of the Bowling Green storm. Again, it's not much, but this is probably going to be somewhere in the realm of maybe penny-sized hail. It looks about like the size of a penny, maybe dime size. Dime size is probably a bit more realistic there, so somewhere in the range of about 0.5 to 0.75 inches in diameter there. That's back over in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Thank you, Gad, for sending that in. I appreciate it. Real quickly, quick update on the tornado warning back down near Bowling Green. This is still ongoing, no longer includes Bowling Green, but for Woodburn, still included, and it also is just west of Scottsville. Alonzo is also included, McElroy Ford. If you're in these areas, again, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. For the time being, though, this rotation is really broadened out. We haven't really seen a whole lot of strong rotation since the very beginning of this warning. That was back at about 11:30 or so. So, as of right now, the rotation's broader, but I would still say in your safe place, high winds up to 70 miles per hour could knock over trees, and that's obviously a pretty numerous threat here. Anywhere in this area is seeing the potential for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, even further back out to the north and northeast and northwest. So, again, if you're back over in northern Tennessee, make sure you get in your safe place now, and if you're anywhere in the furthest southern point here of Kentucky, basically south of Bowling Green, I would stay in your safe place there, away from windows and lowest floor possible as those storms continue to move off to the east. Again, we're going to keep that tornado warning tag off at the top since we're primarily focusing on the storms back over in Illinois for the time being, since the rotation down there is much broader. But we'll keep an update for you. If there's any big changes there, we'll definitely go over there. Thank you, Laura, for the $5 super chat. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. From Munfordville. I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but in Kentucky. I appreciate that, Laura. Thank you. Glad you're finding the coverage informative. Yeah, we're trying to keep up to with two different areas. Again, there's a lot of storms ongoing. And by the way, this isn't it for today. We have another risk of severe weather further off to the west. Look how large this area is today. It's huge. I mean, we're talking about mostly a late morning and afternoon threat across areas in the Midwest. An evening threat will unfold back up here, by the way. So there'll be another evening threat of storms. They're going to be more isolated and much less severe than what we're seeing right now. But there'll be more storms over there. We have another threat of storms ongoing down here that's going to continue throughout the early afternoon. And then another threat during the late afternoon and evening back over in the Central Plains, and as well as the High Plains insanity that's been happening recently. So it's basically nonstop today. We're going to have severe weather pretty much all day. But biggest concern right now is going to be these storms that are going through Illinois. Very populated areas in the track of very high winds as well. All right, we do have new damage reports coming out of the storms. 3-inch tree limbs are broken and power poles are broken over Good Hope. That's a report coming out of that area. And further to the south of Macomb in Industry, Illinois, we have the same report there. These are MPing reports, so they are varying. It could be just tree limbs broken, it could be power poles broken, it could be both. They are, just kind of like you have to pick a certain selection for a report. So those are the same exact reports. So it's probably power poles is my guess, but there also could be some tree limbs down as well. But we had a lot of damage reports already come out of Macomb. There have been damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. So definitely very concerning there. And a friendly reminder, by the way, if you've not already, make sure to hit the like button down below. It's free to do and also gets this out to more people. We only have 427 likes and 2,000 watching. Make sure to like the stream. Also, make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Again, we'll keep you updated throughout the afternoon with these storms as they continue to march out to the east. Peoria should be in a severe thunderstorm warning within the next couple of minutes. So we are going to really watch these storms very closely as they do go through Peoria. Again, if you have any reports, anything like that, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be trying to get some of these out here as well. In industry, we do have a report from somebody in the chat as well. In industry from Steve, power poles down and have been out since 11. So there's also some power outages most likely there. And that's been pretty much a given at this point. Whoa, look at this. This is pretty big. Over in Adrian in Illinois, this is a new report that just came out. A home weather station with a wind gust of 90 miles per hour, estimated up to 100 miles per hour over in Adrian, Illinois. That is huge, by the way. 90 to 100 miles per hour. That is about what we saw in Tulsa, Oklahoma about a week ago. So that is a new report that we had coming out. Now, this is a while ago. This is about 40 minutes ago with this area of storms. But this was associated with the storms that we're about to see going through Peoria. And you can just get the general gist here that these storms are very intense. They're very severe, producing very high winds, as well as a hail threat, and perhaps some damaging wind, or as perhaps a tornado threat as well. So, yeah, that's very concerning. A lot of reports, though, between 80 to 90 miles per hour, possibly up to 100 with those storms. That's wild, though. I mean, we've seen some very high wind speeds to this point. But as of right now, the velocities radar at this current time, a little bit weaker on the wind speeds here near Canton, which might be good news here for Peoria, but we'll have to keep still a very close eye on this and see if anything does change there. Very high wind speeds likely still ongoing with the further southern part of this line of storms. It's west of Springfield, so that's also a concern there. But as of currently, no severe thunderstorm warning yet for Peoria. There should be one in a moment, though, is my guess. Before that happens, though, we're just going to give you a quick update on the tornado warning down near Woodburn in southern Kentucky. Again, this storm has been rotating for quite a while. We do have a little bit of a higher area of wind now, southwest of Bowling Green. Let's go over to the radar site here. Near Interstate 65, and yeah, right now there's not really a whole lot of rotation here. It's more of a damaging wind concern at this point. So if you're anywhere in Tennessee, more concerningly damaging winds, maybe a brief tornado, but that threat should remain low at this point. The radar just glitched out. 1 second. Go. All right. I'm going to see if we have any other reports on Twitter. And again, if you have any photos or videos, feel free to send them in to me on Twitter. Again, my Twitter handle is @MaxVelocityWX. There's also in the description below a link to all of this stuff, including our social media pages and all that. So if you have any photo reports, videos, you always tweet me at Twitter. I'm looking at Twitter very frequently, and as well as if you have any reports from these storms, feel free to leave those in the chat, or you can also tweet me there as well. Either way works. Again, I'll have a way to get both of those reports. We have a new wind gust coming out of Canton of 60 miles per hour. That's actually out of Fairview, Illinois. So the wind speeds have, it looks like, dropped off considerably here west of Peoria over the last 30 minutes. Obviously, they were over Macomb, very, very high, upwards of 80 miles per hour. But they have weakened a little bit. But the new severe thunderstorm warning is still capable here of damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour for Peoria. So if you're over in Peoria, as well as Hopedale, Eureka, Farmington, Brimfield, any of these areas, make sure you're getting to your safe place, away from windows, and lowest floor possible in an interior room of your home or building. Again, these storms that are going to be going through Peoria are capable of damaging winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. So again, very high wind speeds are not out of the question here. Going through Peoria, Eureka will be in the track of this eventually as well. So again, very, very dangerous storms moving off to the east. And they could intensify again. That's not out of the question, by the way. And there's also a tornado possible in this storm. But, yeah, it's a big thing here. I mean, the wind speeds look to be a lot less than what they were before, at least by radar. But they could increase again. There's always a chance that this area of storms kind of recycles and redevelops here and re-intensifies. Because, again, we currently do have a lot of instability out in front of this area of storms. So the amount of instability that we have is going to help to kind of increase the risk of severe weather and perhaps even increase the longevity of this line of storms as it continues to march across parts of Illinois. It's a pretty big deal here. I was trying to find something. I think I can pull up the instability on here. I'm going to figure that out, though. Here's the low-level jet, by the way. So if you're curious about the tornado risk, it's pretty low. Let me just take off the radar real quick. But the low-level jet is what rotates supercells at the lower levels. It's not very strong. It's pretty much the strongest down back towards Springfield, but even then, it's pretty weak. So the tornado risk should remain low. With the setup of storms that we have, it really should be primarily a damaging wind threat here. In addition to this, the instability, I'm trying to find that on here, but this is storm relative helicity. Here it is. So this is the instability. So we have a lot of instability out in front of this area. Anywhere basically colored in any sort of shade is going to be instability. So we have a lot of instability here still throughout parts of Illinois. So that's just something that you really want to keep in mind here, that these storms have a lot of energy to be able to continue to stay strong as they are and potentially intensify more as we go into the afternoon hours. We're not even close to the peak of daylight heating. Even though the longevity of these supercells will probably not last throughout the entire day, like as in from now until 10 o'clock tonight, but they will probably last at least until about 5 o'clock, and then they'll start to weaken probably as they move further down to the south and east. But it's not impossible that these storms go all the way through Kentucky. We could very well see this line legitimately go like this and start to weaken down this direction and kind of take like a southerly turn. This is a possibility with the directional shear that we have today and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's just so many different factors to this area of storms, and it'll be primarily moving east over the next few hours. It's not going to really change directions. It will probably weaken as it approaches Indiana, and then once it gets there, there could be a secondary line of storms that kind of develops and pushes to the south and southeast, and that is what could go through Kentucky later today. So there could be a second round of storms today. That's what I'm basically saying for those over in Kentucky. How's it going, Dobbs? Welcome back. Again, I'm not going to be able to answer too many questions. I'll try to answer a few, though, here and there. So if you have any questions, you can pop them in the chat. But again, no guarantees on answering them. And even if you super chat, I usually prioritize those for questions. But even then, I'm not guaranteeing answering questions since there are just so many things happening at once right now. We have multiple rounds of storms. And again, the ones going through Peoria, I am trying to look for at least some sort of live cams here to see if we can get any idea of what's happening here. But might be a little bit difficult. So these storms, again, will be arriving into places like Peoria within the next few minutes. New wind gust reports now coming out of the Canton, Smithfield, and Fairview area, all of which are damaging winds around 60 miles per hour. So Peoria, you can at least expect damaging winds around 60 miles per hour. There's also a chance, though, that we are watching for some sort of threat here of possibly damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. And a tornado risk also is possible. $half size tail is also not out of the question here. But again, there's a lot of threats with these storms right now. I'm just looking at if we can get any sort of live cams here. Let's see. 42. All right. Yeah, so if you're in Peoria right now, the initial area of storms here that's out in front of the line is not severe. There could be a little bit of lightning with it. There also is probably, well, there's definitely rain, but there might also be a little bit of small hail. The other thing is behind it, that's where our line of storms is right now, and the line of storms that we're watching back out west of Peoria is more than capable of producing damaging winds and possibly, again, a brief tornado risk, but the activity that you're seeing right now is, again, not currently severe. But the area of severe weather is just behind you right now. They'll be arriving here shortly. We have a new damage report coming at St. Augustine in Knox County, Illinois. This can be for some small trees down at the intersection of Highway 41 and 116. That's south of Galesburg. That's a new wind gust report there. Otherwise, we've had no wind damage reports yet out of the storms that are approaching Jacksonville, but the ones near Beardstown or Havana, as well as Pittsfield, all those areas, not yet seen any damage reports, but it's, again, not out of the question that we get some here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Tornado warning is still ongoing, actually, south of Bowling Green. That'll expire in 8 minutes. If not, it could get canceled. Rotation down here is much weaker, though. Just a little quick update on these storms. Back near Scottsville, again, tornado warning ongoing here for the next 8 minutes. Let's check out the velocities again. And again, very weak rotation, nothing too crazy. It's more of a wind threat, so anything in here, any of these brighter colors representing some high wind speeds, that's going to be going towards areas like Westmoreland, Cross Plains, Portland is already seeing that, White House, and Green Brier in parts of west, or actually central parts of Tennessee. So if you're anywhere near the Nashville area, you are going to be in the track of this line of storms within the next 30 to 45 minutes. So make sure that you're prepared for those storms. And as the storms approach, again, make sure you're staying away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. But here's what the storms look like near Peoria right now. Again, approaching quite quickly, moving off to the east at about 70 miles per hour. So again, this is not your ordinary, storms that are moving at like 30 to 40 miles per hour. These are moving double that speed at around 70 miles per hour. That's about the speed of somebody driving on the highway at about 70 miles per hour. So again, very quick moving cells right now. But the tornado warning right now for Plano and halfway Kentucky does continue for at least the next 7 minutes. They have not canceled that. It also includes Chapel Hill. But otherwise, no other reports yet out of any of these other storms, but we'll keep you posted. If you have any reports of your own, feel free to let me know in the chat. I'll be trying to read some of those. And a friendly reminder, if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure to like the stream, and it helps get this out to more people that are in the track of these cells. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. We will keep you posted with the latest details on all the severe weather that's happening throughout the rest of really, at least the early afternoon. We'll see kind of what happens from there, but we're going to probably see severe weather all day today. Not everywhere. We will not see severe weather everywhere, but we're going to see at least severe weather, at least across the scattered area for the rest of the afternoon and as well as the evening. And as I mentioned before, the short-term threat right now is across Illinois and possibly into western Indiana. The threat in Indiana is a bit lower. We'll have a second round of storms later today. That's going to be during the late afternoon and evening across areas near the Chicago, Milwaukee area. So there could be some storms there that produce damaging winds and some sporadic hail. It's a lower threat though overall. And then we'll be watching for another line of storms to possibly develop during the mid to late afternoon back down in southern Illinois and Indiana. That would push down to the south and then back over to the west. We'll have another area of storms developing. It's going to be way back out to the west near the high plains. That'll be developing later today. That could pose the threat of damaging winds and as well as large hail. So there's a lot of stuff going to be happening today. It's going to be a very active day. We'll not be live for everything, but we'll be at least live here for the next few hours covering the activity that's happening here in Illinois and as well as in the Midwest and possibly as well as Kentucky later. As of right now, by the way, the Storm Prediction Center has not yet actually put an update out for today's severe weather, which is interesting. We are about 25 minutes late on the Storm Prediction Center update for today. So we have not yet gotten that. We were supposed to get that almost a half an hour ago. So just for those that are wondering, the Storm Prediction Center update that they do at about 11:30 Central Time every day is not yet out. Yesterday they were about 15 minutes late on it, but there's a chance they put it out here in the next few minutes, but we'll see. Yeah, currently we do not have any Storm Prediction Center update yet. Again, I don't think we'll be seeing any big updates, even if we had one, because the current risk area, this is what they would be updating as the risk. So again, there's an enhanced risk from Missouri all the way back down through northern Kentucky. Now, the only thing they may change to this is that the enhanced risk probably would just get condensed down, but otherwise, I don't think there'll be a whole lot of changes here. Maybe back over in the high plains, there could be an enhanced risk. That's definitely not out of the question, but usually when they wait this long, there's a big update. We have a damage report coming out of Cuba, Illinois. That's going to be west-southwest of Peoria. This is as of 11:35, so about 20 minutes ago, there was a 6-inch diameter tree snapped. Time estimated by radar, so about 20 minutes ago. Again, we've had wind gusts now around 60 miles per hour, primarily being reported. Back over near Macomb, we've had some wild reports of damaging winds exceeding 80 miles per hour. Mature evergreen snapped at the base of the trees, and as well as a railroad gate snapped off from strong winds. So there's been some crazy reports over there already. Had a lot of power outages already being reported. I'm going to check out and see if we have any update on the power outage situation. Currently in Illinois, Hancock County, which is very far west parts of Illinois. Let's kind of outline this here. So that's going to be, I believe, it's going to be this county. This is where we had a report of damaging winds around 100 miles per hour. This county that I just outlined, that's going to be, again, Hancock County. This is a place that we have currently nearly the entire county without power. About 6,000 out of 8,000 people without power, according to poweroutage.us. So there's a lot of power outages here in the Hancock area. And then just to the east of here, near the Macomb area, we also have about half the county without power in Macomb. So that is a developing situation here, developing news, that we have pretty hefty power outages here on the western side of the state. That is all associated, by the way, from this part of the storm. So this entire thing here has been producing that threat. Now, over time, it is gradually weakened, believe it or not. It's down to around damaging winds around 60 to 70 now. It was as high as 100, again, back over in Hancock County near Fort Madison. Very high winds. Again, we had a report of about 90 to 100 mile per hour winds. It's obviously pretty accurate because we've had a lot more power outages back out to the west, and they're obviously going to be gradually decreasing probably a little bit off to the east, but in terms of a percentage. Also, tornado warning has officially been canceled for Kentucky, so we do not have a tornado warning anymore. It's now been canceled. We do have a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings though, and again, a lot of these are capable of damaging winds. That's mainly the threat for today, is damaging winds. Large hail as well. Depending on where you are, there's also a chance for an isolated tornado risk, so a lot of different concerns. Light rain in downtown Peoria right now. Thank you for the report. Yeah, if you're in downtown Peoria, you're not really in a concern at for at least the next 3 to 4 minutes, but in about 5 minutes or so, possibly even sooner, the damaging wind threat will be literally over top of you. So I can't stress this enough. If you are in Peoria, Pekin, Morton, Spring Bay, Hannah City, get to your safe place now, away from windows and lowest floor possible. Damaging winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour is likely as this moves into the downtown area here of Peoria. Definitely want to make sure you're staying away from windows, anywhere in the suburbs as well. If you are near trees, especially make sure that you are getting to your safe place. Those damaging winds will be arriving here within the next literally 5 minutes, if not less. They might already be there in Peoria too, so. Yeah, if you're in Farmington, I would still stay away from windows, but the storm right now is moving right now by you. So, Farmington currently is just seeing possibly a little bit of small hail. The threat right now is up to $half size. Let's look at the correlation coefficient. So, there is some hail falling here. You'll notice that here near Farmington as well as Elmwood, there is hail. But currently, the damaging wind potential is probably going to be on a bit of the lower side. The damaging wind should have already pushed by you. There's still a lot of lightning, though, so we're still witnessing the lightning amount that we're seeing here is upwards of, 3 to 4,000 lightning strikes every 15 minutes. There's a lot here with this line of storms. So a lot of lightning. Make sure you stay in your safe place, at least indoors. But being away from windows is always a good idea here. You've already seen these storms, especially Farmington. But Farmington, you're kind of by the worst of it at this point. I've kind of mentioned this. I mean, the storms that are going through areas in Peoria are definitely becoming a bit weaker. That's good news. How's it going, Geography? Welcome back. We do now officially have a moderate risk of severe weather, by the way, from the Storm Prediction Center. So this is a bit of a breaking situation. Moderate risk of severe weather has been issued for parts of Illinois. That is for the short-term threat of severe weather right now. Illinois for the next few hours. So, again, breaking situation here. New moderate risk of severe weather has been issued. Waiting for it to update on the map, but it might not. This is the new moderate risk of severe weather. Excuse me. So, this is our moderate risk. I'll zoom in as much as I can without it getting kind of pixelated, but that's what we're looking at now. Again, moderate risk of severe weather was just issued for parts of Illinois. Enhanced risk also, I actually mentioned this, enhanced risk has been issued now for parts of the High Plains, back over near the Colorado, or northeast Colorado, southeast Wyoming, in a very small, tiny corner of southwest Nebraska. But really the biggest story now is that we now officially have a moderate risk of severe weather for mainly the damaging wind potential. Enhanced risk of severe weather does go through parts of Kentucky. Slight risk still goes all the way down now to Alabama. I believe that might have grown a little bit. I could be mistaken, but that is what we're currently looking at. Yeah, the slight risk has gone a little bit further down to the south. So when we have that update on our end here, we'll definitely show you more details on that. But again, we now have a moderate risk of severe weather. That is the latest here from the Storm Prediction Center. So, yeah, that's mainly for damaging winds, but that's a pretty big update here, obviously. A friendly reminder, again, if you're just tuning in, make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well, click the bell icon. Again, we'll be live here throughout the afternoon, so make sure you're subscribed. We'll keep you posted with the latest details on everything that's happening with these storms. Again, that is now a moderate risk of severe weather if you're just tuning in. We are awaiting to see this on the map. I believe it should pop up now, maybe in a minute. I have to kind of refresh this a little bit. But if not, we can go ahead and hop over to our other software here. Real quickly, a new damage report coming out of Cuba. 8 to 10 inch tree limbs down in Cuba. The time's estimated by radar, so that's back over in Fulton County. That's going to be near the Smithfield area. That is a new report there of some more tree limbs down. Yeah, I'm just awaiting. Let me see if I can pull it up on a different software here. I still think it's updated. I'm going to see if we can get on Radar Omega as well. If you're in Peoria, again, make sure you get to your safe place immediately. Again, we do have the threat for damaging winds coming through your area right now. Again, the tornado threat's low at that area of storms, but there's still that chance maybe of a brief tornado as well. Always good to stay away from windows, lowest floor possible. Yeah, the risk hasn't updated on Radar Omega either yet, so not quite yet. I'll at least show you on here. This is what it looks like. So this is a bit of a closer view of it. So again, this is our new moderate risk of severe weather that was just issued moments ago. And that's going to include areas near Peoria, by the way. Peoria is included. Springfield, I believe, is also in there. Champaign, all those areas included in this new moderate risk of severe weather. Damaging winds is the main concern. Hatched area for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour for the next few hours. And then there's also a tornado risk. It's on the lower side of things, but there is a tornado risk across Illinois, southwest parts of Indiana, and northern Kentucky. And then our hail threat currently is really on the lower side of things. There's a hatched area, so we could see tennis ball sized hail potential, but it's going to be on the lower side here for the next few hours. So that's what we're currently looking at in terms of that new risk. Again, once we get it up on here on the software, we'll go ahead and show you, but we've yet to see that updated. Again, we're going to primarily focus on the storms near Peoria for the next few minutes. But again, this entire line of storms has the potential for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. But right now, the maximum wind speed that we're seeing, and at least seeing observed, is around 70 miles per hour. You'll notice that here on the velocities, our highest wind speeds are actually a bit further down here to the south. Let's pull this up here. Peoria, though, seeing the threat for damaging winds up to 70 right now, but you'll notice the higher wind speeds definitely going to be in the brighter areas, so right down in here near Springfield, probably between 60 to 70. Those will be all moving off to the east here over the next several minutes. And again, these storms are moving very quickly. I cannot stress that enough. All these storms are moving off to the east at about 65 to 70 miles per hour. So very quick moving cells. Very quick. So again, if you're anywhere in these areas, just make sure that you are, again, staying away from windows, lowest floor possible. If you're in any of these warnings, wait till the storms pass. We've seen a lot of reports already of trees down on homes, power lines even down. Again, it's a big concern this afternoon is those two things. There's still a tornado risk and also the large hail threat. Severe thunderstorm warning for Davenport as well, by the way. It's been ongoing for a little while, but damaging winds up to 60 and quarter-sized hail possible over in Davenport in the next few minutes. Look at this very well-defined outflow boundary, by the way. Look at that thing. Super defined outflow boundary going through northern parts of Davenport. That's also capable of gusty winds. That helps to basically spawn off more thunderstorm activity if there's enough instability, which we do have. So that's what we're seeing there. Again, if you're just tuning in, there was a moderate risk issued for parts of Illinois. Again, I'm kind of waiting to see if this comes up on the software here, but regardless, the area that the moderate, this is a better view of it. It actually includes the cities here, but this is your moderate risk of severe weather. So again, Peoria is included, Champaign, and Springfield. So I was right on those three cities. St. Louis is on the cusp of that enhanced risk, as well as Lafayette, Indiana, and Louisville and Evansville and Bloomington, all included there in that enhanced risk back down in Indiana as well as northern Kentucky. Slight risk has extended further down to the south. It actually goes now through northern Alabama, and then there's now a new small enhanced risk back over in the high plains. But that's our new update here from the Storm Prediction Center. Chicago is still in that slight risk of severe weather. So again, if you're anywhere in these areas, make sure you're prepared for severe weather. If you know anybody in these areas, most importantly, make sure you give them a call or text. Make sure they're aware of these storms today. Make sure that they're prepared. Again, these are moving very quickly. These are not slow. I'll go and put a timeline on it as well. I haven't done that in a little while. But here's your timeline on these storms. And we have more damage reports coming out. So, but again, these are moving about 70 miles per hour. They probably will start to slow down more as they get closer to Indiana. But here's the current timing right now for these storms. So, actually, we're going to do it slightly slower. Let me just go and do this, because it will slow down a little bit further off to the east. But this is what it looks like for the timing. Oops. I don't know what I just did. Let's go and slow it down just a little bit. We'll do about 65 miles per hour. It's a little bit more reasonable. But this is your current timing for those anywhere basically south of Chicago, fairly far south of Chicago. So basically in the moderate risk of severe weather, this is the timing for this line of storm. So normal will be around 12:35. Again, give or take about 10 to 15 minutes on all these time frames. It could be earlier, it could be a little bit later. If you're further to the west of this timing area, it's probably going to be a little bit earlier. If you're further to the east, it could be a little bit later than these time frames. So that's just kind of the general way things have been going so far. Bloomington around 12:35, 12:40. Decatur right around 12:45, 12:50. Champaign around 1:15, 1:20. Urbana right around 1:20. Charleston right around 1:30 or so, and then Danville about 1:50. So that's your estimated timing across Illinois and as well as really far western parts of Indiana. That goes until about 2 o'clock. So this area of storms will probably arrive to the border there of Illinois and as well as Indiana sometime, I would say, around 2 o'clock central. If not, it might be closer to 2:30. Again, I think this line of storms will slow down just a little bit as it goes off to the east, but it is a little bit ahead of schedule. I'll say that. So that's a good question. Any flying trampolines today? Yeah, the flying trampoline risk is going to be up there a little bit. We haven't actually had a flying trampoline meter posted yet today. But today I've only been awake pretty much for 2 hours, and I've been live for one of them. So, but today's risk of flying trampolines is at the extreme level. So make sure you hatch down those trampolines. Again, extreme risk of flying trampolines. It's not gone forever, mainly because I don't think the damaging winds will be consistent enough above 80 miles per hour to really pose that threat. But right now, we do have an extreme risk, which means dozens of flying trampolines are possible this afternoon across Illinois. If you do have any flying trampoline photos of yourself, with any of those flying trampolines that you see today, feel free to message me on any of my social media platforms. I also have my email down below. Feel free to send those photos over to me because these photos were all from one specific trampoline outbreak back in DFW in March. That was where this trampoline meter began, which was from the Great Flying Trampoline Outbreak back on like March 4th, I think it was, of this year. And we had dozens, literally had hundreds of photos of flying trampolines from DFW sent in. So when that happened, I was like, oh, might as well make a flying trampoline meter since it was such a big issue. All right, we have a couple more damage reports coming out of this area of storms near Jacksonville, Illinois. There's a large tree that snapped halfway down the trunk over in South Jacksonville. That's as of about 15 minutes ago. And then over in Jacksonville as well, several branches down. Again, both of them in Morgan County there. So we have a lot of damage reports coming out of there. I know we have some viewers from Peoria. Let me know if you're seeing anything there in Peoria in the chat. If you have any photos or videos, feel free to tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. Yeah, that's at MaxVelocityWX on Twitter. If you have any photos or videos, you can feel free to tweet me there. The best way to do it. And yeah, you can also message, or also in the chat, you can post any reports that you have. Yeah, do not stand in front of trampolines. That's a good idea. Tree branches down in Peoria. That's one of the reports that we're having here. Thank you, Daniel. Rockford, Illinois, good. You're going to be good for at least now. There is a chance for storms later today, though, after like 4 to 5 o'clock. That's a better chance of some storm activity. You might even see a little bit earlier than that with this area of storms that's outflow driven, but the threat should be a bit lower. Main concern, though, right now there would be damaging winds and large hail with a couple of isolated cells later today. Yeah, for whatever reason, the Storm Prediction Center update has not come in on here yet. Real quickly, we're going to refresh this, I think, and then we're going to see what it looks like. Thank you, Treetop. Again, if I miss any pronunciations, I'll try to, correct them, but so we have so much stuff going on, it might be a little bit difficult. We do have a new wind gust report coming out of Peoria. That is 62 miles per hour. So we still have high winds going through Peoria right now. The latest report out of Bellevue was a 62 mile per hour wind gust from a trained spotter. So we are still seeing high winds going through that area. Let's go to the velocities here. Let's just circle this real quick near Peoria Heights. There is a little bit of rotation back up here, just on the north side of Peoria. It's not strong, but there is a possibility for maybe a brief tornado here. It's a little bit of weak rotation, but we have a little bit. So Yeah, just make sure you're staying away from windows. Again, a brief tornado is not out of the question with this area of storms. We do have a tornado possible label for a reason on this particular cluster, because there is a potential for a brief tornado. So there's a little bit of rotation there on the north side of Peoria. That's moving off to the east. That'll be going towards Metamora. This is an area that actually a few months ago that we had a tornado warning in, and I remember covering it. Yeah, there's a little bit of rotation. I wouldn't be surprised again of a brief tornado. It's broad rotation. It's not very strong, but if we were to see a tornado, it would be pretty weak overall. New velocity scan should come in here. Yep, there we go. So, yeah, still a little bit of rotation here. It's, again, pretty minimal, but I wouldn't rule out maybe an isolated tornado here. We do have a new tornado warning for Springfield, Missouri. Or, excuse me, Springfield, Illinois. I don't know why I thought of Springfield, Missouri. Pretty strong rotation, actually, back near Springfield right now. Down in Springfield, Illinois. Again, brand new tornado warning. Seek shelter immediately away from windows and lowest floor possible if you're in this tornado warning. This is for the Springfield, Illinois area. Also Rochester, Riverton, Southern View, northwest of Chatham, all included in this brand new tornado warning. This is going to be moving off to the east. So again, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible if you're included in this warning. Again, this is just to the southwest of Southern View, moving off to the east-northeast. Very strong rotation, though. This could very well produce a tornado at any time. It actually could be even on the stronger side if it's able to produce a tornado here. This is what it looks like on the actual radar here. So rain-wrapped, most likely, area of rotation. We do have a little bit of an inflow as well, so there is definitely some inflow coming into the storm here. On the reflectivity, it's a little bit more definitive, so there's a little bit of an inflow there. It's not overly clear since we have a lot of rain around this, but regardless, again, strong rotation just southwest of Springfield in Illinois. Again, if you're in this area, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. This is west of Interstate 55, south of Interstate 72. Definitely some strengthening rotation here, moving off to the east-northeast. This also includes Curran, Jerome, Rochester, and Riverton in Illinois. If you're wondering about Chicago, again, that's going to be more of a late afternoon threat. Or maybe some isolated damaging winds. It's a low threat, though. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warning for Springfield, Illinois. This is going to include Southern View, Rochester, and Riverton as well. Moving off to the east. Again, fairly strong rotation here. This could produce a tornado at any time. And again, if it does produce a tornado, it could be on the strong side of things. So we do definitely have some high velocities here. This is the velocities going towards the radar. This is going away from the radar. Let me redo this. This is the velocities going away from the radar. That's going towards the radar. If you're curious on how to read the velocities radar, and again, this is your pocket of rotation right here. So this, again, could produce a tornado at any time. It is going to be moving off towards Interstate 55 in the next few minutes and Southern View. These storms, again, are moving about 70 miles per hour off to the east. So they're very quick moving. This cell in particular estimated about 55 miles per hour off to the east. So not nearly as fast as the other storms, but it's still fast enough to the point where there will definitely be a chance for this to be possibly pretty quick for a tornado duration. To make sure we're not. So yeah, this is the closest radar site. Just want to make sure. And that's your rotation. Going off to the east and east-northeast. Springfield, get to your safe place immediately away from windows, lowest floor possible. A tornado is possible legitimately at any time. And again, it's quick moving. So this will probably be near Southern View in the next radar scan. This radar scan's from about 3 minutes ago, so the rotation's a bit further off to the east now. New radar scans coming in right here. And it's actually going to be starting to go a little bit more east-southeast. Look at this. The rotation area, we might get a new tornado warning now further to the south, because this rotation is now kind of flirting with the very bottom of this polygon near Chatham. It's a little bit further south now is Springfield. Springfield might just get kind of spared here with at least the pocket of rotation. Southern View, stay in your safe place. Rochester, definitely stay in your safe place as well. We sometimes see left-hand turns. I would still stay in your safe place if you're in Springfield, just in case. Again, there's always a possibility that this does go a little bit further off to the north. We sometimes see very sharp left-hand turns. It's probably not going to happen, but it's always a good idea to stay in your safe place. Damaging wind potential along this area of storms right now is varying from anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour. So the other concern is, even if you don't see this particular area of rotation, there is a chance that you see damaging winds around 60 to 70 miles per hour in the next few minutes as the line of storms pushes through Springfield, Illinois. So that's definitely a concern here. Yeah, this is definitely dangerous. Again, this is over Chatham right now. dangerous area of rotation. It is rain wrapped. We do have storms now going through Springfield. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. We have another tornado warning now for Sherman. So 2 tornado warnings now, both in the same area pretty much. This is going to be for this little pocket of rotation it looks like right here near Sherman. That's northwest of Sherman. So again, now 2 tornado warnings. Good thing I zoomed out. 2 tornado warnings now, one south or in Springfield as well as just on the south end. That's our area of rotation. Other area of rotation is back up into here, northwest of Sherman. So 2 different pockets of rotation. This other one's going to be going towards Dawson, Indianapolis. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but that's going to be going towards Interstate 72 and eventually going up to the east towards Harristown. So if you're in these areas, seek shelter away from windows, lowest floor possible. If you do not have a room away from windows, a closet or a tub in a bathroom is always a good idea. Putting a mattress over you, whatever you gotta do, those are the best things to do here when a tornado warning is currently ongoing. Again, neither of these have yet to be confirmed. It's just radar indicated rotation. The one near Chatham is the strongest of the 2 so far, but this other one near Sherman could produce a tornado as well at any time. Yeah, rotation, without a doubt, is definitely there. This is what it looks like on the radar feed here. So, yeah, this one looks to be less rain. This is definitely not a rain-wrapped tornado, so if there's a storm chaser on Interstate 55, it'd be easier to see, but the one near Chatham is fairly rain-wrapped at this point. Yeah, nothing on the correlation coefficient at this time. Rainy debris. This does include Logan and Sangamon County in Illinois, by the way. Both of these warnings. Again, near Springfield, Illinois. That's where this tornado warning is ongoing. We have 2 separate tornado warnings, both for 2 different areas of rotation. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a new tornado warning on the south end of this polygon here, maybe further to the south. Edinburgh could be in the track of that as well. It's definitely a concern. All right, there's your new tornado warning. So we have a new tornado warning now near Chatham. That is your brand new tornado warning near Chatham. And we have another pocket of rotation, again, northwest of Sherman. So if you're near Chatham, again, get to your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible. Edinburgh, Kincaid, Taylorville, and Pawnee are all in the track of this area of rotation. So again, stronger rotation near Chatham. We have another pocket of rotation near Sherman. 2 different areas that are definitely dangerous here. Make sure you're getting to your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible. Again, further reminder, if you're just tuning in, if you know anybody in these areas, make sure that they are weather aware. Make sure that they are, aware of these storms that are happening today. This is a very quick moving line of storms, moving around 50 to 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour in some parts of this line. So you want to make sure if you have any friends or family out in front of these storms, just give them a call or text, make sure they're all right and prepared for these storms. But the rotation further up to the north near Sherman is going to be located back up into here, and then near Chatham, it's rain-wrapped. It's now on the east side of Chatham. Both areas, though, a little bit stronger. The one back just to the east-southeast of Chatham is definitely on the stronger side of things right now in terms of rotation. We're going to zoom in just a little bit here. This is a little bit better view of it. So, again, rotation back up near Sherman, and another pocket of rotation just on the east side there of Chatham. Also, a friendly reminder, if you're just tuning in as well, make sure to like the stream, subscribe if you've not already. Again, we'll keep you posted with the latest details throughout the afternoon. We'll be live here for a while. We do have now a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is going to include areas near Sherman. So, confirmed tornado is now on the ground. Back up north near Sherman. This is as of literally 15 seconds ago. I believe this is going to be a possibly observed tornado on the ground, again, near Sherman. Very strong inflow here. Tornado's going to probably be sitting right about there is my guess. Let's go and check out the velocities and the correlation coefficient. My guess here is that this is probably going to be a, not a radar confirmed tornado, but this is probably observed. Let's check that out. Yeah, so there's a public confirmed tornado. It's located over Riverton, 9 miles northeast of Springfield. So that's where the tornado is located. It's moving east at about 80 miles per hour, by the way. This tornado is moving at 80 miles per hour off to the east. Again, tornado is now on the ground near Sherman. Seek shelter immediately, away from windows and lowest floor possible. This, again, it's moving off to the east at 80 miles per hour. That is extremely fast. If you're anywhere out in front of this, you need to get to your safe place now. Do not wait. Again, tornado on the ground. Yeah, very dangerous area of storms here. That is, again, a confirmed tornado moving east at 80 miles per hour. I don't think I've heard a tornado moving that fast in a very long time. But, again, this is a public observed tornado. We don't have really any other details right now, but on the velocities here, there's no correlation coefficient drop this time. Again, we've seen this happen before, where we see a tornado happen in between radar scans. That could be what's happening right now, so keep that in mind. Near Sherman, that is where our rotation is. It's moving off to the east-southeast, going towards Dawson, as well as Interstate 20. So again, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Cannot stress that enough. And this is now a tornado on the ground. This is north of Springfield, going towards Harristown. It will eventually go towards Decatur in Illinois, so another populated area in the track of this pretty soon. And this will probably arrive to Decatur within the next 30 minutes, if not sooner. Again, these are very, very quick-moving cells. I mean, it actually could be there in Decatur in the next 15 minutes. I mean, again, we are watching extremely fast line of storms here. Here's the latest radar scan. We're going to get the velocities update in a moment. Just going to refresh this. All right, here's the two areas of rotation. Again, we got one right now down near Interstate 55. Here's the latest radar scan, so that's going to be spitting out a little bit there. Our tornado that's on the ground is going to be located here near Dawson. It's very quick. Again, it was just here within the last 3 minutes. It's moving to the east at 80 miles per hour, so it's going to be going towards Dawson within the next minute, and then Illopolis is going to be in the track list within the next 5 minutes. So if you're in that area, seek shelter now, away from windows, lowest floor possible. Springfield has now been canceled from that tornado warning, by the way. So just an update there. But again, these are quick moving. I cannot stress that enough. If you are in Decatur, Illinois, stay on alert and make sure that you are, getting prepared here as these storms get closer. Even though there might not be a tornado in your location in the next 15 minutes, you could see damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour as these storms approach within the next 15 minutes, and they're just moving so fast. And yeah, I cannot stress that enough. Again, right down north of Pawnee, that's where we're still seeing some rotation. It's a bit broader. This is our tornado on the ground, though. That's the tornado on the ground. There's an ongoing tornado observed by the public northwest of Dawson. Actually, yeah, let's go over to the radar here. This is what it looks like on the radar. So again, rain-wrapped area of rotation down near Dawson. And the problem with a lot of these storms that we're seeing right now is if there is any tornado on the ground, they're going to be rain-wrapped rotation. It's not going to be very clear on the ground, which is another problem here. If if you're in the area, try to look to see if you can see the tornado. Don't try to do that. These storms, to begin with, are moving, again, 80 miles per hour off to the east. This tornado that's on the ground possibly still is moving to the east at 80 miles per hour. And the other concern here is that damaging winds could even be out in front of the line of storms, and the rain-wrapped nature of these areas of rotation is another big concern. So I can't stress it enough. Don't try to go outside. Don't try to look for this tornado. It's going to be very difficult, at the bare minimum, to say the least. So again, if you're in these warnings, take them very seriously. Stay away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. Again, Springfield, Illinois, no longer in this current tornado warning. So you are currently all right from the tornado warning. Damaging winds is still possible. Tornado on the ground right now is going to be just to the northwest of Dawson, but it is likely over Dawson. If not, it could have already passed through Dawson at this point if that tornado is still ongoing. But at this current time, the latest report that we have on this storm is that there was an observed tornado moments ago. And here's the latest radar scan, or excuse me, not the latest radar scan, the latest update on the tornado warning, though. Again, this is still an observed tornado for those near Dawson in Illopolis. Again, I might not be saying the name right, but we're going to go with it. But those are two pockets of rotation. One near Dawson and one near Pawnee. Also, Cornland is included in this tornado warning, so you're in Cornland, Illinois. Seek shelter. Decatur, Illinois will be in the track of this here pretty soon. And our next radar scan is coming in right now, so I'll have an update on that rotation, and we'll try to figure out where that pocket rotation is here in just a second. Again, it's moving very quickly off to the east. That radar scan for you at any moment. Yeah, the severe thunderstorm warning right now is up to 70 miles per hour. I wouldn't rule out it goes up to 80 miles per hour. I'll be honest with you. I would not rule that out. That we see a severe thunderstorm warning here for up to 80 mile per hour damaging winds. That is definitely not out of the question here. All right, here's the latest radar scan. We're going to check out the velocities here. All right, here's what we're looking at here. So that's our one pocket of rotation. That is northeast of Pawnee, near Edinburgh, and near Tovey. So this is still a possibility for a tornado. This will eventually go towards Taylorville, Assumption, and further off to the east-southeast. Our other area of rotation where there is possibly still a tornado on the ground, as of now, there is still an observed tornado on the ground, is right there, moving off to the east toward Illopolis. This is now on the northeast side of Dawson. That is where a tornado could still be ongoing here. Correlation coefficient has not indicated any drops, but we've had 2 different reports now of somebody spotting a tornado. This is, I believe, our second one now. That just literally came out of this. Yeah, again, this is a public confirmed tornado as of right now still. So there is still a tornado probably still on the ground here going towards Elopolis. Seek shelter, away from windows, and lowest floor possible. And again, I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing any names. That's really, you know what I'm talking about at least. You know, we got the towns on the map here. But again, the rotation right now that has still a possible tornado on the ground right now is northeast of Dawson. Otherwise, we have a radar indicated rotation back near Edinburgh. So 2 different pockets of rotation. This is where our tornado is still on the ground at this current time, at least from what we know. Again, it was a public observed tornado, it was not radar confirmed. Matt, there might have been a correlation coefficient drop, but I'm not going to go back for it at this point, since these radar updates are coming in pretty frequently. But if we have time and the tornado warnings are gone in like a few minutes, we'll try to go, back to that. Springfield will be all right. Springfield is pretty much just seeing rain and some lightning right now. The severe weather that we're seeing is going towards Decatur. It's pushing through Illinois right now. So if you're over in Springfield, you're all right now. There's really not a whole lot of activity coming towards you. It's already going through you right now at this point. Just rain at this point if you're in Springfield, Illinois. Tornado warned cells are now to your southeast and to your northeast. They are going away from you. So good news. If you're in Springfield, you have any anxiety, I totally understand. You're all right. You're just looking at some rain. It's always a good idea, though, to just stay away from windows just in case there's any high winds or anything like that. And just an FYI, for those that are just tuning in, we are primarily focused right now on tornado warnings. If there's no tornado warnings or they start to weaken out, we'll start to look at other stuff up and down this line of storms, and we'll also go back over to Kentucky and Tennessee eventually. But for right now, again, the main concern right now is the tornado on the ground that's going towards Harrisontown and potentially Decatur or Illinois as well. Those are the next 2 areas in the track of this. And also another area of rotation that's near Edinburgh and Taylorville in Illinois. That is another area of rotation that is not confirmed as a tornado, but is stronger in terms of rotation, and we could see a tornado happen with that at any time. So we have to watch both areas very closely. Again, storms right now are moving 80 miles per hour off to the east. The tornado that's on the ground is moving at about 80 miles per hour off to the east. I mean, I'm not kidding. That is extremely fast. So, very concerning stuff. And it's 12:30 now. The tornado warning was set to expire at 12:30. We'll see if they issue a new tornado warning. But for right now, again, there is a possible there's still possible tornado here near Interstate 72. Strong rotation near Edinburgh. This could drop a tornado at any time. But near Interstate 72, east of Dawson, that is our area where we possibly still have a tornado on the ground. But as of right now, they've not issued a tornado warning yet. My guess is that they will issue a new one here in a moment. If not, though, we still have fairly strong rotation down to the south. I gotta update the tornado count here. Yeah, so just a friendly reminder, again, these storms are moving very quickly. So if there is a tornado on the ground, it's going to move at a very high speed of around 70 to 80 miles per hour. I mean, this storm down here near Edinburgh is a little bit on the slower side of things. It's going about 50 miles per hour, but if there's a storm chaser out here, it is a very dangerous environment, I'll say, to storm chasing this stuff, because these storms are just so quickly moving. But yeah, again, currently right now, the rotation back down near Edinburgh is very strong. It's at this current time not tight and confined, but if there is to be a tornado with that, it could potentially be strong. So it's definitely a concern right now. A strong tornado risk is possible with that. But right now, back west of Decatur, rotation's a little bit weaker, and they've not yet issued a new tornado warning. I'm going to go to the screen for now, just go back to the tornado warning screen. But there is still a chance that there might be a tornado warning issued there in the next couple minutes. Quick update further to the north. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning back into areas northeast of Bloomington, north of Champaign. That's for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and as well as the threat for quarter-sized hail. That's a new warning there. But otherwise, again, strong rotation back west of Stonington, and there's a chance that this rotation back near Interstate 72 could produce a tornado risk closer to Decatur, Illinois. So let me just try to put this into a better proportion here. So that's our area of rotation here, moving to the east, and then our other area of rotation near Edinburgh in Kincaid, moving off to the east, east-southeast. And we have a new tornado warning further down to the south. So this is a new tornado warning for those southwest of Taylorsville. That's actually, I was looking at that a little bit. There's a little bit of rotation there, and again, another pocket of rotation right there. So 2 different areas of rotation, both of which moving pretty much in the same direction, east-southeast. The rotation that's back up west of Decatur is moving more of an easterly direction, so bit of a little bit different paths here, but overall it's pretty much the same direction. It's going east. But those are your 2 areas of rotation. If you're back into areas like Pana or Assumption in Illinois, make sure you're seeking shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Just a little bit more of a zoomed out look here. And rotation there, and then another area of rotation there. We have a very clean inflow, by the way, with that other cell. Definitely pretty concerning. The one with strong rotation actually has clean inflow, which is definitely very concerning there. Tucker, water, please, with my water bottle. Thank you. Thanks, Sunset. Appreciate it. And friendly reminder, if you're just tuning in, make sure to, I cannot stress this enough, if you know anybody in Illinois, just make sure they're aware of these storms today. Decatur is one of those areas that's going to be impacted within the next 15 minutes from damaging winds. Champaign, Effingham, Ottawa, back up near Chicago even could be impacted by severe weather anytime today, anytime within the next hour or two even. So just make sure you have any friends or family in the state. Make sure that they're aware. This area of storms will eventually go into Indiana later, in probably about an hour and a half or 2 hours. So that's also a concern. And also make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the bell icon down below so you stay up to date with the latest live streams. Again, we'll be live here for a while covering the severe weather. Rotation back near Palmer is a little bit weaker. The rotation back near Kincaid is still pretty, I mean, it's not strong, tight, and confined, but the velocities themselves are strong. So if we, again, see a tornado, it could be on the strong side. But these are the velocities going away from the radar, and that's going towards the radar. So this is your area of rotation, moving again off to the east, going towards areas like Assumption and as well as Route 51. Again, very strong rotation. That's going to be south of Decatur. And we have a new pocket of rotation near Mount Auburn that could potentially produce something here. So that's a new area of rotation that's going on the southwest side of Decatur. It's going to be definitely a little bit more rain-wrapped. We have a new area of rotation that could get tornado warned as well. Again, there's a lot of stuff to track here, but that's another pocket of rotation attempting to develop. This is another area of rotation that's been strong for quite a while. A little bit weaker back down southwest of Taylorsville. So those are the 3 areas now that we're watching. I believe we may have just gotten a new tornado warning. No, we did not. Never mind. My notification came in late. How's it going, Shelly? Thanks, Reed. Appreciate it. Hope everything's going well over there in Wyoming and Colorado. I know it's been busy over there. I've been watching your streams recently. That was a huge tornado last night, by the way. That was the intercept of the year. I gotta say that. Again, if you're anywhere southwest of Decatur, near Mount Auburn, that is where we have some rotation developing. Back near south Mount Auburn, as well as back down southeast of Edinburgh. That is also where we have some rotation there. And then southwest of Taylorville. And make sure that you are seeking shelter if you're any of the tornado warnings away from windows lowest floor possible. Outside of this, we're still watching for damaging winds up to 70 to 80 miles per hour across this entire line of storms. We have a new tornado warning that was just issued as well back near Clinton, Hayworth, Waynesville. If you're anywhere in these areas, make sure again that you are seeking shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Let's go to the reflectivity here. This is actually just crossing over the radar site near Lincoln in Illinois. So again, brand new tornado warning here. Let's the warning count here. A couple of different areas that I'm looking at here, though. We have to wait for the next radar scan here on the velocities. It should come in here in a second. But there's one currently. There's a little pocket of rotation going towards Kennedy, it looks like. Potentially another one southwest of Waynesville. Regardless, we do have a couple areas of rotation. It looks like another one trying to develop west of Kennedy. Strong winds as well, west-southwest there of Waynesville. So going towards Clinton. If you're in these areas, again, seek shelter away from windows, lowest floor possible. We have 3 tornado warnings ongoing currently up and down the state. We could get a 4th one southwest of Decatur, but we'll see. There's a little bit more rotation there. Wouldn't be surprised if we got a tornado warning on that cell as well as it moves off to the east. Having a little bit of pink eye. Yeah, that tornado with all that dust was wild last night. I wouldn't doubt it. When I used to live in Texas, we had 70-mile-per-hour winds, and there'd just be dust coming in. I'd be like outside on my patio watching the storm, and all this dust would just come into my eyes, and it was awful. That happened one time. It was brutal the next day. We have another tornado warning as well south of Bloomington. I'm trying to get the latest radar scan here. All right, there we go. Let's go up to these storms again. So again, couple areas of rotation. We have 4 tornado warnings, 2 new ones. The new tornado warnings are going to be back up near Waynesboro. Strong rotation. All right, this is our latest radar scan. There we go. That's our strong rotation. This could have a tornado at any time. Southwest of Waynesville in Illinois. Again, this is a possible tornado at any time. Southwest of Waynesville. That is going to be embedded here in the storm. Not too clean of an inflow, but there's an inflow coming into the storm here. So there, again, could be a tornado at any time. Pretty clean setup here for this store to storm. Embedded in the line of storms. This will be going towards Clinton, Hayworth, Wapella. And then we have another pocket of rotation further to the south. There's a little bit more rotation as well. We have two different pockets. This one's a little bit weaker, but there's a chance it produces something that's west of Clinton and then southwest of Waynesville. That is our current pocket of rotation that we have to watch for very closely. That is going towards Waynesville and Wapella. You're in these areas. Again, seek shelter, away from windows, lowest floor possible. And then back up near McLean, not seeing as much rotation here, but there is a chance that this little wind bag here that we have near McLean could potentially start to produce some sort of tornadic activity. This will be moving off to the east towards Route 51, currently near Interstate 55. And it'll be going towards Downs, Illinois here pretty soon. So definitely concerning here as these storms continue to move off to the east-northeast. And that'll be going towards Interstate 74 as well. And gonna probably stay south of Bloomington is my guess with that current area of rotation. But Bloomington, definitely stay alert. If you are in Bloomington, I would recommend at this current time that you get to your safe place away from windows, especially if you live near trees. Trees could fall down from high winds with this sort of storm. So definitely a concern there. We have a lot more wind gust reports, by the way, coming out of Peoria. A lot of them are around 60. So new update there. Let's go back down to the south real quick. We'll give you an update on the other tornado warnings south of Decatur. Again, friendly reminder, we have 4 tornado warnings ongoing. 2 are back near Bloomington, and then 2 back down here south of Decatur, Illinois. Rotation still remains, I mean, it's not as strong as before. It's a little bit broader than what it was originally. That's going to be going towards Stonington and Taylorville. Still stay in your safe place if you're included in that tornado warning. The rotation back northwest of Pana is not as strong. So if you're back over there near 48 as well as 29, not nearly as strong of rotation. But I would still stay in your safe place if you're back over in Pana and Assumption, just in case it does end up producing a tornado. And now the rotation with this other tornado warning is outside of Taylorville. It's going to be now going towards Stonington and Assumption. Again, these storms are going about 80 miles per hour off to the east. They are very quick. So, you know, warnings, they're going to be really coming in very quickly here with these tornado warnings. So there might be a new tornado warning here for this rotation, but it is broader than before. That's good news. The one back over northwest of Pana, not nearly as strong as before. But the other thing is back over north of 10. That is where we do have some stronger rotation. We're having a little bit of an issue, though, it looks like, with the velocities radar. But that's our area of rotation. It's going to be right there south of Waynesville. Be right in that little pocket there. There could be a tornado at any time. Again, this is very close to the radar site, too. But that's our area of rotation near Waynesville. There's also another pocket of rotation attempting to develop west of Clinton. So 2 different areas right now, moving off to the east-northeast. Again, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible if you're included in these warnings. And if you have any reports, any photos or videos that you've taken safely, you can feel free to send them in to me on @MaxVelocityWX on Twitter. I'll be trying to show a few of those. If you have any photos or videos, you can tweet me on Twitter @MaxVelocityWX. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, another thing to keep in mind here is that there's a moderate risk of severe weather. It got issued a little while ago, probably about 30, 40 minutes ago. That's for Illinois. So the main concerned states for today in terms of severe weather is Illinois, Western Indiana, definitely, parts of Kentucky, primarily Western Kentucky. And we also have a concern back over in the High Plains, which I know Reed Timmer will be chasing later. But over in the High Plains, there's now a new enhanced risk of severe weather back over in the High Plains. That's primarily for some large to very large hail and maybe some damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado, but there's pretty much severe weather happening all day today. It's not just now. We're going to see severe weather throughout the afternoon. There will be a second round of storms as well back over in near Chicago and Milwaukee that is possible later today. That will be during really the late afternoon as well as into the early evening hours. That's some isolated cells that could develop with large hail and damaging winds. So again, there's a ton of different severe weather threats today. It's really going to be nonstop. And if I do end up getting a quick breather from all these tornado warnings, we'll try to show you the future radar with every area, but it will probably be a while until then. There's just been so much activity. Stronger rotation near McLean, Illinois. This is going to be south of Bloomington, Illinois, by the way. So some stronger rotation south of Bloomington, moving off to the east-northeast. I'll be going towards Hayworth, and again, a couple other pockets of rotation. There's a lot of different pockets right now. 3 different areas of rotation. Wapella, DeWitt, Clinton, Hayworth, you need to be in your safe place now. If you are south of Bloomington, anywhere in that southern suburb area here near Interstate 74, in between Interstate 74 and 55, get to your safe place. if you're in the pink polygons. Again, we have stronger rotation near 55. Which we should have a new radar scan coming in here in just a moment. Thank you, Mary, by the way, for becoming a minimum velocity member. I appreciate that. Thank you. Nothing currently confirmed by radar yet on any of these tornado warning cells. But we do have a new radar scan that just came in, so we should have a new velocity scan as well to kind of check this out in a moment. All right, here's the latest radar scan. So, again, currently near Hayworth, we do have some rotation here. And then we have another pocket here. And then we have another pocket that kind of weakened out near Clinton. So our two main areas of rotation are back to the one west of Hayworth, and as well as the one just to the west of Wapella. So those are our two pockets of rotation. Again, neither of these have been confirmed yet. They are radar-indicated rotation, so a tornado could happen at any time. They are moving off to the east at approximately 60 to 70 miles per hour. Current estimated is 67 miles per hour. So we're basically watching for storms going off to the east here in Illinois at around 70 miles per hour. So very quick moving tornadic supercells embedded in this line of storms. Again, we do have some rotation with both of those cells. The tornado warning near Taylorville is likely going to be let to expire. It does expire in 2 minutes. So I'm going to go and take off that tornado warning for now because that's no longer in an area of rotation. But we do have still some rotation back near Assumption and another pocket of rotation northwest of Pana. So those two areas still have some rotation. I'd still say in your safe place if you're in Assumption. This area of rotation is definitely concerning, as well as Mo Aqua. You're in that area. Also, another area of rotation that is still remaining strong. That was the one that went through Taylorville, or just north of Taylorville. That could also produce a tornado risk. Definitely more concerning here south of Bloomington and a bit more of a populated area here. You're in the Bloomington area. Again, tornado warnings are continuing. Stay in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible. Stay safe, Dina. Stay safe. It's always a good idea if you're in the path of any of these storms. I would highly recommend that you get away from windows, lowest floor possible. Even if it's only a severe thunderstorm warning, they are producing damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour. So, again, very dangerous storms that we have rolling through these areas right now. I'm glad I could help you, Mary. Glad I could help. Yeah, these storms, I mean, they weren't too surprising. We saw them yesterday. I kind of mentioned them on yesterday's forecast a bit, but this was something that was expected to happen. Obviously, it's been a bit more severe than what was actually, kind of expected, though. I didn't really think we'd get to the extreme damaging wind level that we've gotten to, and as well as the tornado risk. I mean, we've seen a lot of different areas of rotation. We currently still have two areas of rotation, one near Hayworth, Illinois, as well as another one northwest of Clinton, so definitely concerning, to say the least, but another thing that we'll have to watch for as these storms progress to the east is how intense they stay and for how long will they stay intense, because they're going to be going towards eastern Illinois, western Indiana. Instability comes a little bit lesser there. This line of storms has been going for a long time so far today, so there is a chance that this does not continually stay alive for the rest of the day. I mean, we very well could see this weaken out a bit as it gets closer to Indiana. That's what's at least expected. It is a pretty large bowing area of storms, though. It's a huge bow right now. We do have a new tornado warning that has now been issued on that other area of rotation that I mentioned before. That's going to be east of Taylorville for Assumption. So some stronger rotation here. Seek shelter, away from windows, lowest floor possible. If you're in Findlay or Assumption, that is our new area of rotation that's moving down to the east-southeast. Another concerning area. A little bit broader on this latest radar scan here. This is the storm relative velocities. We'll go to that. Just refresh it and show you that. You'll notice here, yeah, back near Mo Aqua, as well as near the Assumption area. Again, a little bit of rotation there, moving down to the east-southeast. They'll be going towards Findlay. So, seek shelter, away from windows, lowest floor possible. Not really any rotation at the current time over near Decatur. It's more of a wind threat. Might be trying to produce a little bit of rotation, though, in the long term. But a lot of the rotation that we're seeing is not really at this, like, frontal bow here. It's a little bit further to the south and north of the extreme furthest to the east bow, really, right now, of this line. So you'll see it kind of gets, we have these like, little kinks, basically, kind of embedded in this. And these little kinks that are developing are the areas that we're seeing some stronger rotation developing. We have wind damage coming out of Lincoln, by the way, in Lincoln, Illinois. This is a 2-foot diameter tree blown down, shingles blown off an apartment complex, and possibly caused by a tornado over in Lincoln. So there's a possible tornado over in Lincoln not too long ago. And near Wapella right now, we still have some strong rotation. And this is becoming very strong. Let's check out the correlation coefficient as well. And there is a possible tornado on the ground here, near Wapella. Right here, very tight rotation near Wapella. I'm just going to get a second-hand look at this, but very strong rotation right now near Wapella. Seek shelter immediately if you're in this area. It looks to be very strong rotation. We have a very strong inflow going into the storm as well. Not yet, but it's fairly strong rotation, it looks like, at the bare minimum. There is a possibility, though, for a tornado at any time right now near Wapella. Very tight rotation. Another area of tight rotation near Hayworth as well. So we have two different areas of very strong rotation. Again, not completely tight, but that's going to be potentially producing a tornado at any time near Wapella. And if we look at the live radar here, you'll notice that inflow going into the storm. Very clean inflow. Let me use a different color. Very clean inflow going into the storm. And that inflow helps to, basically make a rotation healthier in a sense. And it basically can help to increase the risk of a tornado at any time. So when we have these clean inflows like this, with the hook, by the way, which these are both very clean hook echoes as well, that is concerning. We could see a tornado with this, again, at any time near Wapella. It might already be on the ground as we speak. Definitely some strong rotation, though, here, without a doubt. Again, moving off to the east right now. If you're wondering about any of my social medias, by the way, there is a link in the description for all of that. I know some people are wondering how to send me stuff. You can send me stuff on Discord, any photos or videos. Twitter is preferable, though. I am checking Twitter quite frequently for not just that, but also reports of these storms. My Twitter page is @MaxVelocityWX. So you can check that out as well. Any photos or videos. But again, if you're taking any photos or videos, please take them safely. These storms are, again, moving very quickly at around 70 miles per hour off to the east, some of which are moving as high as 80 miles per hour off to the east. We do have a new radar scan. We're going to check out the velocities here in a second. And near Wapella and Hayworth, that is where we have the rotation. It's going to be a little bit east now, Hayworth, and as well as Wapella. Here's the latest velocity scan. So looks still, we still have high velocities, so we could very well have some very high downburst winds at the bare minimum. But there's still some strong rotation here. I would not be surprised if we do see a tornado at some point in the next few minutes with this. But there's still very strong rotation. And it might not look to be like the cleanest looking cell, but this is pretty typical for a line of storms. We have a pretty clean hook right here. And then we have an inflow going right into that cell. And the rotation where it's located is going to be basically in this little hook here. So we could see a tornado there. There's a little bit of an inflow, but it's weakened out a little bit here in the last couple minutes back near Downs. So there's another possibility for a tornado there at any time, northeast of Hayworth. So two different areas. And if you're in Downs, Leroy, I would get to your safe place now. If you're in DeWitt, back over in DeWitt, Illinois, get to your safe place now. Farmer City, I would get really stay weather aware here over the next few minutes. That storm will be arriving there shortly. And another tornado warning still ongoing, northwest of Shelbyville. And this rotation's broadened out over the last several minutes, so this is a bit weaker than before. I wouldn't be surprised if this produces a tornado. It's been rotating for quite a while, but it's a little bit weaker. So if you're in Findlay, stay in your safe place, away from windows, and lowest floor possible. We have three different areas of rotation. Tornado warning will likely be condensed for the Atlanta area as well. So this will be probably just including Wapella, Clinton, and as well as Hayworth. And DeWitt, anywhere basically out in front of it. So Atlanta is pretty much done with this tornado risk right now. Thank you, Chili. I appreciate the pronunciation corrections. I'm not going to really focus too much on it right now since we have so many warnings ongoing, but if we only had like one warning, it wouldn't be as hard, but there's a lot of stuff. But I do appreciate it. Again, hopefully, I'll be mispronouncing some names, so if I mispronounce anything, it's, hopefully you get at least a general idea of what's on the map here, but it is a bit more difficult when we have so many warnings ongoing, getting all these corrections in. And that's our one area of strong rotation. We have another one near Hayworth. We're watching two areas of rotation currently, moving off to the east-northeast. If you're in any of these warnings, again, make sure you're seeking shelter, away from windows, and lowest floor possible. Interior room of your home or building. Ohio will not be impacted by these storms, really. There's a low chance for damaging winds and hail later today, but it's a low threat. The main concern right now is, again, across areas in Illinois. I have a quick second before the next radar scan. This is what it looks like in the large scale of things. So we have a moderate risk of severe weather for Champaign, Springfield, basically Illinois. Central Illinois is all included in that moderate risk of severe weather for the next few hours. And then we have an enhanced risk of severe weather through Louisville, Evansville, west of Indianapolis. That goes as well for another few hours, and that's going to be really increasing over the next couple hours for this enhanced risk. And then there's a marginal threat all the way back over into Ohio. And Chicago's in that slight risk. You'll see a better chance for storms later today. Hey, Ro, how's it going? All right, let's go back over to the velocities. We have a new radar scan. We still have some inflow going into the storm near DeWitt. North of DeWitt is where we still have rotation. Let's go to the velocities here. And looks like both of these storms actually have a little bit less rotation than previously. Yeah, both these storms currently have a little bit less rotation than previously. You'll notice right now there's still an inflow going to the storm here near DeWitt. There's still definitely a clean inflow, and we still have a hook here, but it does seem as if the rotation's weakened in the latest scan, which is good news. This is what it looks like on the velocities here. So weaker rotation, definitely still some high winds though. I would not be surprised if we're talking about damaging winds around 70 to 80 miles per hour. The rotation back near Downs though, on the other hand, still has a little bit of rotation. It might not look very clean, but there is definitely still some rotation there near the Downs area. Embedded in the storm, not really much of an inflow though anymore, so I wouldn't really be shocked if this area also fizzles out. But if you're in either of these tornado warnings, definitely stay in your safe place for the next few minutes. Be prepared if you're in Farmer City, Bellflower, Aerosmith, Cookeville, Mahomet, DeLand, Champaign as well, Illinois. You guys should all be on alert for this area of storms. Damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour is a possibility. This entire warning here from Decatur, Illinois, all the way back through Champaign, Tuscola, Charleston, and even near Effingham are all included now in an 80 mile per hour damaging wind potential here as these storms move off to the east. We still have tornado warnings, but it looks to be right now, I think really the big transition from here is going to be going to more of a straight line damaging wind concern upwards of 80 miles per hour. And yeah, this is, again, very, very quick moving storms. So we're talking about storms moving around 65 to 70 miles per hour off to the east. So these are very, very, very quick moving. If you know anybody in Illinois, make sure they're aware of these storms. And also, again, friendly reminder, if you're just tuning in, make sure to like the stream and subscribe if you've not already. Again, we'll keep you posted with the latest details on all these storms. For those that are wondering if this will be a derecho or be classified as one, I don't think it will. It is producing damaging winds across a pretty large area, but I don't think it's at 250 miles. I might be wrong on that, though. I'd have to calculate it somewhere else because the measuring tool in here is not as good. But let me check real quick. Yeah, there's a chance that we are talking about close to a derecho length. But up and down is about 160 miles. Now, that's just up and down. That's not taking into the account of displacement with the line, because it's not just a straight line, it's a Boeing line. So it could be close to 200 miles long, but I don't think this is going to be classified as a derecho. Again, I could be wrong on that, though. It's not really at the 250 mile or 240 mile length that they usually go with the derecho. This has been ongoing, though, for the entire morning, pretty much. It's been a little bit more isolated. Now it's become a lot more almost widespread at this point with the high winds. But for those wondering, over near Champaign, for example, the highest winds currently embedded in this area of storms. We have a high area of wind area west of Farmer City, more back over to the west of Monticello, and then also near the Decatur area, just east of there, we still have some high winds in here. This is a lot more of 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, probably. And then further to the north, we have a very high area of winds. Look at this. Back west of Farmer City, damaging wind potential upwards of 80 miles per hour ongoing north of DeWitt. So estimated by radar, it's approximately around 80 mile per hour winds going towards Farmer City. If you are in Farmer City currently, get away from windows, lowest floor possible. Interior room of your home or building. Treat this as if it's a tornado warning if you're in Farmer City, because that is very high winds right now going towards Farmer City, around 80 miles per hour. Too many storms. Yes, there are too many storms. I gotta be honest with you. I haven't even updated the warning count here in a while. But, believe it or not, we have actually only 7 severe thunderstorm warnings and 3 tornado warnings. I haven't updated that in a while. But the severe thunderstorm warnings are obviously very large. I mean, we're talking about very large severe thunderstorm warnings here. The one from Effingham back through Champaign, it does not include Effingham, but this is a very large severe thunderstorm warning for damaging winds around 80 miles per hour. It's probably about 50 miles at least in length, maybe even 70. It's a very large area, so that's, you know, one of those things here is that we have very large severe thunderstorm warnings, which makes the warning count a bit lower, but obviously in nature we are still watching a lot of severe weather embedded in this one area of storms. This will not be impacting Florida. No, this is definitely not impacting Florida, Crispy. You're talking about Orlando, Florida is my guess, but if there's another Orlando, let me know. Again, Illinois is really the main area and the concern for these storms. In addition to this, we are still watching western Indiana for the threat of severe weather during the mid-afternoon hours. Probably sometime just after 1:30 is my guess when you'll start to see some storm activity there, maybe about 2 o'clock. Indianapolis might see some damaging winds, but the threat should primarily stay in parts of western Indiana. That should be the main concern, back over in western Indiana. Lightning detected 10 miles away from my location. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of lightning, too. There's definitely a lot of lightning with these storms. Yeah, it seems like as if these tornado warnings will probably be let to expire. We're going to check out the velocities again. But I do think the severe weather threat is going to be really transitioning more into a damaging wind threat. So you'll notice here near Findlay, we still have some pretty high winds and potentially still some rotation still embedded in that little area going towards Findlay. At this current time, though, there's not been any confirmed tornado on this particular tornado warning. Further to the north, it's become only wind, not really any rotation near Farmer City, but we were talking about damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. And near Ellsworth as well, we still have some rotation up there. So there's 3 different areas right now that we're watching in terms of very high damaging winds and perhaps a tornado risk. A lot of this, though, right now going towards areas like Champaign, as well as Charleston and Effingham, is damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, which, just a reminder, damaging winds around 80 miles per hour is in the range of an EF0, if not maybe even a low-end EF1 type tornado. I mean, we're talking about those type of wind speeds here. We've had a lot of damage reports already of knocked down trees, power lines, trees on homes. So just make sure, again, that you are treating all these severe thunderstorm warnings as if they are tornado warnings. For Springfield, by the way, we do have a new damage report coming out of there. Large tree limbs down at intersection of Spring and Edwards in Springfield. And also back over in Chatham, we have some trees uprooted or snapped, possibly caused by a tornado in Chatham. That was where we had strong rotation, by the way. So it's an FYI there. Stay safe, Dina. Yeah, Dina, if you're in Farmer City, I would definitely make sure that you are staying away from windows right now in the lowest floor possible. In Farmer City specifically, we are seeing very high winds just outside of there. Latest radar scans coming in right now. The winds are really about to pick up here. The estimate on radar is around 70 to 75. Last scan was about 80. Right now, we're probably about 70 to 75 mile per hour winds going into Farmer City. And if you're on the east side of Farmer City, you're about to be hit. If you are on the west side, you're probably already seeing those very high winds with this storm. So yeah, definitely, if you're in Farmer City, Mansfield, get to your safe place now. Leroy, Aerosmith, Bell, Flower, all should be in your safe place as well, away from windows. Wind gust actually just coming out of Decatur Airport was 75 miles per hour. So the latest confirmation here near Decatur was a 75 mile per hour wind gust over in Decatur. We also have a downed tree that took out power lines near the Enterprise School in Decatur. And also in Taylorville, which is where we had a tornado warning, we also had a report here of large branches down, gutters and shingles blown off a roof, and then near Litchfield, a 60 mile per hour wind gust a little while ago. That is a lot of damage reports. Also near Peoria, we had a lot of large branches down. Approximately 18 inches in diameter for a large tree blown over. So that's another report there. Lot of severe weather, and it's still to come here. A lot of activity going to be happening throughout the afternoon. I'm going to see if we have any other radar sites out in front of us. I don't think we do. Yeah, the next radar site's gonna be a bit further off to the east, so we're going to be dealing with this one for now. Rotation still remaining a bit broader near Finley. This tornado warning will likely be let to expire, but there is still enough rotation to the point where I could produce a tornado. So if you're near Finley, stay in your safe place. Next place in the track of this would be areas like Gaze and as well as Shelbyville. Shelbyville should still be very well on alert and get away from windows. Damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour possible there. But again, this entire area that we're looking at here in this box that includes Champaign, Illinois, Charleston, north of Effingham, you need to be on alert because damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour possible in this entire area. Most of the area will see damaging winds between 60 to 80 miles per hour. There's a good chance, though, for at least some scattered, if not numerous, damage across this area. Just trees and shingles and whatnot across this entire region. So definitely make sure you're prepared for that as these storms continue to move off to the east. And again, a friendly reminder to make sure to hit the like button so this gets out to more people. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Keep you posted with the latest on all the severe weather today. And again, we do live streams like this quite often, so. And a really friendly reminder as well. Make sure you're taking all these storms very seriously. I cannot stress this enough, and I really cannot say that enough either. Bring in any outdoor furniture, charge devices, and again, just take the warning seriously. That's like the one thing that everybody has to be doing right now. Damaging winds across this entire line between 60 to 80 miles per hour is ongoing, where the highest winds currently are in parts of central Illinois and that moderate risk of severe weather for Champaign and Charleston, north of Effingham. And then further off to the north, we still have damaging winds as high as 60 to 70, as far north as Ottawa, and that's not too far away from Chicago. So we are still seeing severe weather fairly far off, even to the north, and even far down to the south. So yeah, there's a lot of concern there. The severe weather is pretty much winded down back, or wound down. I don't know what the word is for that, but back over in Nashville, it's pretty much subsided at this point. The severe weather, just some strong storms, but all the severe weather is focused right now across Illinois, and this will eventually move into Indiana within the next 45 minutes, if not within the hour. So very quick moving cells. It's winding down back down into Tennessee. Farmer City right now has the high winds going through there. Hopefully, Dina is staying safe in the chat. I know she was from the Farmer City area. But I believe Vince will not be with us, by the way. I mentioned that before, but I don't think Vince is chasing. I could be wrong. No, he is not chasing. So, we will not have a storm chaser in this stream. That's... I'm pretty sure Vince Walty has been working on his vehicle, so... not able to go chasing here. You might go chasing tonight, though. There's a chance, because this is one of 2 rounds, basically, of severe weather here in the Midwest. We'll have another round of storms going into the late afternoon, early evening, and that'll be a bit more of an isolated round, but we'll see some isolated cells develop back up in northern Illinois, as well as southern Wisconsin. So that'll be a threat for a little bit later today as well. Main concern owned by in that area would be damaging winds to 80. So we're looking out of that direction. Primarily, I think on the northern side of this area, storms and really anywhere south and west of Chicago, so this entire region here, we're really watching for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, so probably less than 70 miles per hour is what my expectation is for these storms at this point, because really what we're looking at up here is a bit more of a disorganized area of storms. It's a big, again, this line's huge, right? It's a huge bowed out line of storms, and the main activity has been in the very front of the bow, which is all in here pretty much, and that's where we've been seeing the damaging wind potential upwards of, again, 80 miles per hour. We just had that possibly go through Farmer City. I know we had Dina in the chat in Farmer City. She said she was in this area. I'm guessing she might have lost power since she hasn't responded, but a lot of people are losing power in these areas. Power outages here across Illinois are currently up to about 100,000 people without power in the state. The main counties without power, though, currently are like Hancock County, which is in very far western Illinois, McDonald County, and the more recent ones are Sangamon County. That's about half the county without power, by the way. That's where we had a tornado warning near Springfield. Morgan as well, and more recently Logan County starting to lose power, as well as Peoria County. Those areas have lost some power as well. Peoria, though, is done with the severe weather out of this line of storms. This line, again, is huge. It's going very quickly. The only benefit really to this entire line of storms is, 1, there's rain, and there's actually 2 benefits. 1, there's rain, and 2, the air quality will improve a little bit over these areas as the rain pushes by. So there's actually very minimal benefit, but there is some benefit to this line of storms. We have more damage reports coming out of Dawson, extensive tree damage in Dawson with numerous roads blocked off, and the time is estimated by radar, so that was about half an hour ago, but that's a new report that we just had come out of there. Over in Lincoln, again, we had a possible tornado here. We had a wind gust of 60 miles per hour confirmed in Lincoln. We had a possible tornado in this area, and there was shingles blown off a apartment complex and 2-foot tree branches down. And then in Leroy, most recently, a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust was observed back over in Leroy as about 10 minutes ago. Otherwise, a lot of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. The highest wind gust in the last about 25-30 minutes that has been reported and confirmed and observed at this point was 75 miles per hour back over in Decatur. We also had some downed trees that took out some power lines near the Enterprise School in southwest portions of Decatur. So this line is going to continue to march out to the east, still producing some high winds as it continues to do so. As high as 80 miles per hour is possible. Not that smoke, I know. Again, that's like really the only benefit to this entire line, though. There's two benefits. That's the air quality will be improved, at least for a short duration. It will not be like entirely, but there will be, the rain will kind of help the air quality a little bit. Some of the smoke will kind of just go away for, you know, maybe a few hours, and it'll kind of return again. But that's one benefit, and the other one, again, is the rain, which could help the drought situation. And one of the things I mentioned in the summer forecast I had here of 2023, which I've never done one before, but I did one. For the Midwest in particular, the first half of the summer will probably be more of a drought more than anything. The second half should improve, but see what happens. Welcome back, Cecilia. I'm staying hydrated. I'm on my second bottle of water. I haven't taken a break yet. We're 2 hours in. Doing pretty good so far. I could just sleep in Florence, Alabama. Yeah, if you're sleeping at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, yes, you are. Try to see if we have any other updates. If you have any reports, by the way, feel free to leave those in the chat. And also, if you have any photos or videos, you can feel free to tweet me on Twitter, any of those, or you can send them to me on Discord. All those links are in the description below. We have a Discord server, exclamation point Discord in the chat. And again, those are all in the description if you want to send me any videos. Reminder again, Twitter is at MaxVelocityWX. If you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe down below. Stay up there with the latest here on the Max Velocity channel with the live streams and videos. And also make sure to like the stream so this gets out to more people. We crossed 55,000 subscribers apparently today. I don't know how many we've gained. We've actually gained about 600 subscribers in this live stream. I didn't even realize. We officially crossed 55,000 subscribers. Another milestone. Just wanted to throw that out there. Not even realize. It's clear and sunny in California. I'd hope so. Are you the Chris I know? I think you are. Putnam County. I don't know where Putnam County is. I'll have to figure out where that is. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be answering some questions. Again, mostly right now we're watching for a Champaign with the damaging wind threat. Tornado warning's going to be probably about to expire. I'm going to go to the tornado possible label, and we're also going to go over to the live radar. There we go. So we'll go and do that. Again, Champaign is the next area on the track of this entire area of severe storms, and we now have a new severe thunderstorm watch that has now been issued for parts of Indiana. So Indianapolis, Bloomington, Evansville. This is primarily for the threat of damaging winds up to 75 miles per hour, and as well as the threat for 2-inch diameter hail, and as well as the threat for possibly a couple of isolated tornadoes. So again, brand new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for this region. That also includes South Bend in Indiana. So if you're anywhere in these areas, make sure that you are staying weather aware, have multiple ways to receive alerts. This will definitely be fairly dangerous as these storms continue to march out to the east. This line of storms is again producing damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour and has been for quite a while as well. I need a pen. Much needed rain in southwest Ohio tonight. There's a chance for some rain, but I wouldn't put your hopes up on it. There's a chance, though, depending on how far east this line of storms goes. Let's go back over velocities. I gotta get a pen here for a second. Okay. Southeast Ohio shouldn't see any severe weather tonight, no. Yeah, if you're currently in Champaign, get away from windows. The damaging wind threat up to 80 miles per hour will be entering your location within the next 5 minutes. So again, up to 80 miles per hour does not mean you're going to see 80 miles per hour. I say up to on almost every threat because that is usually what's maxed at. That does not mean that you're going to see 80 mile per hour damaging winds, but that means that you could see up to that. Usually it's between, in this case, I would at least expect 65 to 70 mile per hour winds in that area. I mean, we definitely have some high winds. These brighter colors that you're seeing here, that's where we have the highest wind speeds in terms of velocities. So the highest winds are going to be entering into areas like Champaign here pretty soon. If you're in Champaign, any of the outskirts, get to your safe place now away from windows. If you're back anywhere down near Interstate 57 near Mattoon or Windsor, you should get to your safe place in the next couple minutes. Windsor, you should get there now. But if you're in Champaign, again, you should get there, like, now to your safe place. And a safe place means, like, away from windows, lowest floor possible. It's typically like a closet or a bathroom. If you have a tub, cover yourself over with a mattress or whatever. It's always a good idea. Again, we could see some trees fall down and whatnot, and that wind is quickly approaching Champaign. It's already on the western side of the town, so you should get there right now if you're anywhere in Champaign. Accurate, honest, reliable, handsome. Appreciate it. I just got a haircut yesterday. That will be my next tagline, I guess. There is probably a shelf cloud. We don't have a storm chaser today. We're supposed to, I mean, I don't know. We weren't supposed to, but Vince was working on his cars the last couple days. So, or last actually pretty much all week. So he's been fixing up his car. So he wasn't able to go live for this. He might actually go live later. I'm not entirely sure for the other event back up in Wisconsin and Northern Illinois. But yeah, we don't have a storm chaser. And honestly, to be honest with you, this is a very hard setup to chase. These storms are racing at about 80 miles per hour off to the east. I've mentioned this like 90 times, but they are moving very quickly off to the east. And with that being said, these storms are very difficult to chase. You would have to be going about 70 to 80 miles per hour just to stay up to these storms. And you would have to be going west to east. And these storms aren't going, like, they're going west to east. These interstates go northwest, or they go like southwest to northeast, you know what I mean? So it's very hard to keep up with these storms even if you were chasing. It's a very difficult environment. If you were to chase this environment, it's more for just seeing one part of the area of storms and then letting it cross over you, and then you're done. That's pretty much it. That's the chasing setup that we're in. There's not a whole lot else to it, since it's just such a fast line moving of storms. If you're further up to the north, though, up here, like near Davenport, you might have a bit more success because it's not as fast moving, but really in the core of where the severe weather's happening, it's extremely fast. It's extremely hard to chase. Again, I'm not a storm chaser. I've chased like once in my life, but you know, it's very difficult to stay up to stuff like this unless you're literally speeding. Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it. Yeah, I got a $15 haircut yesterday, believe it or not. Pretty cheap for a haircut. But I don't have my normal barber that I go to. Not bad, though. Yeah, in Champaign, if you're in Champaign or Tuscola or Arcola or Tolono, anywhere here basically along the Interstate 57 stretch in eastern Illinois, you should be getting to your safe place now. Away from windows and lowest floor possible. You have the chance, again, for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. And we still have high winds going through Champaign, Tolono, as well as Tuscola. Those winds are going to be literally crossing over the towns and cities in the next 2 minutes. So you want to get to your safe place. Again, treat this as if it's a tornado warning. Damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour are possible as this moves off to the east. The severe thunderstorm warning has been updated. It is still producing damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. Very dangerous line of storms. And also, a severe thunderstorm watch was issued for Indiana, if you've not already heard. That was issued not too long ago. It does include Indianapolis, Kokomo, as well as Plymouth, South Bend, Bloomington. That's mainly for damaging winds. That is a new severe thunderstorm warning. No problem, Tracy. Appreciate you tuning in. Your haircuts are free? That's nice. I don't have that privilege. That's what I got for my, like, mom or something. Yeah, I usually get a high fade haircut. That's what I've been doing a lot recently. All right, let's see if we have any other Twitter reports coming in. Again, if you have any photos or videos of these storms, you can feel free to tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. You can also send them to me on Discord. Our Discord server is also linked in the description. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. And also like the stream. Helps get this out to more people. If you've been enjoying the stream so far and you want to support the page above and beyond, you can become a member for as little as $2.99 a month. You can click the top link in the description, or you can click the join button down below. Helps out the page a lot. Appreciate the new members today. Okay, check. Interesting. Yeah, again, the highest winds right now are going through Champaign, Tuscola, and Charleston, by the way, will be in the track of this in the next 5-10 minutes. Let's actually, we'll put a timing guide on this. The thing with the line of storms that we're seeing right now, it is going to start weakening over the next couple hours. Like, it's going to. It's going to be on a weakening trend. Not yet, but it will be in the next 30 minutes. It'll start weakening as it goes into Indiana. It will still remain strong enough, but this is the timing right now on this line. So there's your timing guide. It's going to be on the left side of your screen. Feel free to take a screenshot. This is all in Central Time, so I'm not sure when the transition from Central to Eastern Time happens in Indiana, but that is the current time. I believe Indianapolis is in Central Time. But if not, again, just add an hour to your time zone. Otherwise, again, this is your timing. All the locations on the bottom left of your screen. Feel free to take a screenshot, do whatever you gotta do, just kind of get timing. But this, again, estimated. It's not guaranteed. It could be a little bit quicker, could be a little bit slower, but this will start to weaken a bit more as it moves off to the east, hence why the severe thunderstorm watch is not extended super far out to the east, right? It's not going through Fort Wayne or Bluffton or Greensburg, so... Your timing was very good. You said 120 for Champaign. Yeah, I was pretty much spot on. I mean, the line of storms, again, it's kind of hard to sometimes tell with these, but the storms, when they're going this fast, they can really be kind of hard to track. So getting it pretty much spot on with a line of storms that's going 80 miles per hour or whatever, or 70, it's quite wild that I was actually pretty much spot on with that. Thank you, Perp Poise, for the $2 super chat. And Indianapolis is in Eastern Time. Thank you. So yeah, if you're in Indianapolis, again, that would be 4 o'clock technically, your timing, approximately. The timing's on the bottom left. Again, this will probably slow down as well a little bit. So these timings could be as early, could even be 15 minutes earlier than what they say here. So yeah, anywhere back over in Indiana could be on Eastern Time there. So Indianapolis is. Let me actually look up the time zone map. Oh, it's actually pretty much the entire state of Indiana is in Eastern Time Zone. The only exclusion is the far northwestern and southwestern parts of the state. I did not know that. I thought it was a bit further to the east, but I guess not. Yeah, Indiana, if you're anywhere near Clinton and Greencastle, add an hour to those times that I just posted there. And that is your time zone time. We're currently in Central Time, and we are going to stay in Central Time since it's just kind of the easiest thing to do right now. Severe thunderstorm watch, again, goes until 7 o'clock Central Time tonight. We have a severe thunderstorm watch for a large chunk of Illinois until 5 o'clock today. This is going to be for the concern for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, tennis ball-sized hail, and a few tornadoes. And we've already seen a lot of that already unfold. There will be a second round of storms later that will start to form back down in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. Those will start to move down to the south and east. Those will be discrete cells and pretty isolated, so there could be some severe weather out of those. But the biggest concern for the next few hours will be this line. And the line of storms will really probably stay the strongest down here to the south towards Evansville. So if you're back down in western Kentucky near Elizabethtown or Louisville, Evansville, you're not done today. You have another line of storms coming at you. That is going to likely produce some damaging winds, and that it could also be quite significant. So there will be another line of storms coming through. That's awesome, Celia. I'm glad you love the merchandise. If you want, by the way, you can feel free to send me photos on Twitter or whatever platform. Feel free to send me photos of them. I'm not sure what exactly you got, but yeah, I have a Max Velocity t-shirt, which is extremely comfortable, and a hat, which is really high quality. They're really good quality products. Yeah, I was wearing the Max Velocity shirt on my stream the other day. I was really enjoying it. Really comfortable. Also, I do want to show you guys something else that I have not shown yet in this live stream. This is kind of interesting. So let's go over to this screen here. I do this a lot in my live streams, showing the infrared imagery. And this is a very impressive area of storms. This is the infrared imagery here from these storms. It is extremely impressive here, what we're seeing. I mean, it's actually incredible. So what we're seeing here with this white color and as well as the pinks that are showing up, that is extremely cold cloud tops. The colder the cloud tops are on this infrared imagery, you're going to see those darker reds and stuff like that. Those are colder cloud tops. And these are really huge cells that we're seeing here across Illinois, and even back down through Kentucky. We had a lot of that today, and we still have some of that ongoing. So there is a chance for lightning to be as far off to the east as like areas like Chicago in sort of sense when we have these red colors showing up. So near Chicago, you actually might see a little bit of lightning in the area. It would be probably pretty, infrequent, but there might be a little bit of lightning over there. But yeah, very impressive complex of storms right now that's rolling through these areas. It's definitely impressive to say the least. Yeah, this line has been very impressive, and it's going to continue to march through areas in Indiana. It's really not going to end anytime soon. Yeah, when you look at the infrared imagery with something like that, it's wild. Thank you for setting that, by the way. R Terriers on Twitter. Go and retweet that. It's pretty cool. Oh, Tucker actually already has a hat. Yeah, also, by the way, if you want to get any Max Velocity merchandise, we do have a couple collections. I just want to remind you real quick. We have our Flying Trampolines collection on our site. That's going to be going away within the week, so make sure to pick that up if you want any of that. We also have a Storm Chaser hat. We have multiple different hats and stuff. Make sure to pick that stuff up on our store. Again, every hat or shirt sold, $1 does get donated to the ocean cleanup for me. We've already contributed, so if you ever want to pick something up, I haven't mentioned that at all in this live stream. There's a link pinned in the chat as well. Somebody just sent in a photo from Champagne on my mail. How's it going, Jaws? Welcome back. A new severe thunderstorm warning will likely be issued for Danville, far eastern Illinois, and then we're eventually going to be starting to see these storms going towards areas like Indianapolis, so that's definitely going to be a concern there. Here's a shelf cloud that was sent in. Pretty good photo here. Shelf cloud. This was out of Champaign, Illinois, from DD. Thank you for sending this in. A very good view of it there in Champaign, and this is a very... I'm assuming... I wish we had a video of this, but this is probably moving very quickly, is my guess. Very impressive, though. That was near Champaign. When Champaign just got hit by those storms, produced damaging winds, probably somewhere around 60 to 80 miles per hour. The warning that's ongoing is for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, so there's a chance that was that high. Read faster. I'll slow it down. How's it going, Linda? Thank you, Brad, for the $20 super chat. I appreciate that a lot, Brad. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're staying safe in Northwest Chicago, by the way. Northwest Chicago. You'll probably see a little bit of storm activity later today. And that's actually, I've not done this yet. We have a little bit of a break time here. Let me go and show you the future radar. I wanted to show this earlier, but this is something that's kind of important here for the rest of today. Because we could see some storms fire off in parts of Wisconsin, possibly going towards Chicago. So this is the future radar here. Didn't want to show this, but this is the future radar. So we'll see storms continue to go towards Indiana over the next few hours. Again, it's likely going to be weakening out. The most severe part of this line will be down in parts of southern Indiana and as well as southeast Illinois. That's where the most severe action will be. There will be another area of storms going near Chicago around 3, maybe 4 o'clock, and that could spawn off a couple of extra supercells. Those could produce some large hail and damaging winds. The HRR model, which is something I use quite often, is not indicating that we're going to see long-term, longevity of these supercells. They'll probably be pretty quick, but the ones that do develop could produce some large hail and damaging winds in southern Wisconsin. We could see another little cluster as well going into the late evening, but other than that, that is the main concern. For those near Chicago, there's still a chance for severe weather. It's just going to be more towards the mid to late afternoon and early evening. That's your best chance. Isolated hail and damaging winds would be the main concerns for those areas. So that's currently the threat across those regions. We've had no recent reports, by the way, which might be good news. It also could be bad news. Let's check out the power outage map real quick. Power outages have continued to increase. Right now, they're currently at 70,000 people without power in Illinois out of about 6 million that are tracked. So that's primarily going to be including areas like Sangamon County. That's near Springfield, where we had tornado warnings earlier. Back near McDonald, as well as Hancock counties. Those counties still have a large majority without power in those areas. We are still watching for damaging winds, though, being quite significant. We could be even watching some hail as well in these areas. New severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour for Champaign, Charleston, Danville. These storms on eastern parts of Illinois are producing that damaging wind threat up to 80 miles per hour. That's now an observed threat, so there are damaging winds being confirmed around 80 miles per hour. So that's definitely a concern here in parts of eastern Illinois. We're now up to an 80 mile per hour damaging wind threat. Very, very concerning now. By the way, that could also mean that that could have been somewhere around 80 miles per hour for a wind report. So likely observed. I don't think we've seen any confirmation of that yet, but we might be able to find that in the warning. Let's check that out. Figure out the location of this. Yeah, this is a destructive supercell going through eastern Illinois. This is observed by trained weather spotters. So that's all we know right now from that. Trained weather spotters observe this threat for Danville, Charleston, and again going towards areas in very far eastern Illinois. That's where now our damaging wind threat of 80 miles per hour is possible. Thank you, Tracy, so much for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that a lot. Stay safe in Louisville. Yeah, Louisville will be on the track of this in a couple hours too, so definitely concerning there. Thank you again, Tracy, for the $10 super chat. And again, Brad, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And this is what we're looking at currently in eastern Illinois, near Homer, Newman, Georgetown, Danville, Chrisman. All these storms, again, moving off to the east, producing damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. The highest wind speeds are likely to be located right in here. So just southeast of Champaign, going towards Georgetown. Paris could also be in the track of this, and Danville. Those are the areas that are definitely in the track of this over the next several minutes. And stay in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible, as these storms do continue to march to the east. And if you know any friends, family in Illinois, make sure they're aware, as well as Indiana. Again, western Indiana, for west of Crawfordsville and Greencastle, will be in the track of this area of storms here pretty soon. Let's see if we have any other Twitter reports on these storms as well. If you ever any reports of your own, feel free to leave those in the chat. But no new reports at this current time. That's a good thing. Simple. If there's nothing happening in your area, that's typically a good thing. If you're already seen storms in Illinois, you're pretty much done for today. The only exception, well, there's not really any exceptions at this point. This is pretty much the only line of storms for tonight or today. And after this, you're pretty much done. So Lincoln, Normal, all those areas behind it, you're pretty much finishing up with storms. There's still a lot of lightning, though, with these storms behind it because of how high the cloud tops are. There's still going to be a lot of lightning, but the overall severe weather is pretty much tapered down now, which is good news. We have new severe thunderstorm warnings down near Effingham as well. That's for 60 mile per hour damaging winds down further than the southern part of Illinois, so damaging winds up to 60 are possible. Now, we do not have any tornado warnings, by the way. Sorry, forgot to move that. Glad it helps, Glitter. Pretty good timing, Joss. Yeah, the warning count right now is 8 severe thunderstorm warnings and then 8 severe thunderstorm warnings and no tornado warnings. That's what it is. We're good now. And we do have currently a severe thunderstorm warning as well for the Kankakee area. That is for 60 mile per hour winds. But really the main concern now is the damaging winds of 80 miles per hour in this sector here from Danville and Champaign. And it's going to be going into western Indiana. So it'll eventually go towards Indianapolis. That's really the biggest concern, though, for the next few hours. It's going to be this little spot of storm activity producing damaging winds around 80 miles per hour. That's definitely the most concerning area of this entire line. Further north and south you go, the less severe these storms will be. So really where the peak of the bow is, which is back over here, the furthest eastern part of the bow, That is where we're seeing the highest damaging wind potential. That'll be going towards Indianapolis. So, yeah, if you're in Indianapolis, make sure you're staying alert, but I still think this line of storms will weaken over the next few hours. It's still producing up to 80-mile-per-hour winds, let's not forget, but I do think that eventually this will start to weaken out pretty quickly as it gets towards Indianapolis. I think if you're in the Indianapolis area, damaging winds up to 60, maybe 70 will probably be your main concern. So somewhere between that range, but I think the threat will start to weaken out a little bit back over that direction. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the chat as well. I'll be answering some questions as we have no tornado warnings right now. I don't think we'll have too many more tornado warnings. I think overall the tornado risk should be going down here. We had a peak of the tornado threat for that little 45-minute session there back around 12 o'clock Central Time. It really was peaking then. We had a ton of tornado warnings. But the rotation out in front of this line, it's very weak. And the low-level jet really was the strongest in Central Illinois. But by the way, NATOcast was very well correct on the tornado risk. Pretty much was spot on. It was really peaked there across Central Illinois. Thank you, DD. I appreciate it. I saw your email again. Yeah, try to see if I can check out these videos. This is what it looks like. A little bit of a slow photo or slow video. This is what Champaign looked like. You guys see the high winds there going through Champaign. So that was in Champaign. I think there's one other video. A little bit more. I think it was a slow motion video. Oh, wow. Look at this. Holy cow. That's incredible. Wow. This is going at normal speed, by the way. That's moving so fast. Now, that is incredible. That's from Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. Wow. And that is just incredible. Absolutely incredible shelf cloud. Wow. That's pretty wild. I'll have to post that to Twitter. That's crazy. All right, that's posted to Twitter now, but yeah, that's incredible. Thank you again for sending that in. Again, if you have any photos or videos, feel free to send them to me on Twitter or by email. But yeah, that's pretty wild stuff there. One of the more incredible shelf clouds I think I've seen in quite a while. That's a huge one too. I mean, that was not like a small little baby one. Sometimes you see those like little humps in the sky. That was like a massive like tidal wave of a shelf cloud. Pretty wild. And with how significant these storms are tonight, it's definitely not out of the realm of things to see something like that. Now, it's probably still like that going through areas in western Indiana, but I'm actually curious to see. I don't know if Radar Omega has those either. If there's any live cams in this area, but kind of check that out. I know there's a few. Don't believe so. Nope, none in this area. But there is a lot of damage reports coming out of these areas. Again, if you know anybody in Illinois that's already been impacted by severe storms, make sure they're doing all right. Make sure give them a little heads up. But yeah, make sure they're all right. There's been a lot of storms, a lot of trees down, a lot of power out. I mean, we have all these blue boxes that you see are damage reports within the past 2 hours. There was a lot more back over in western Illinois, but yeah, this almost looks like a circle in a way. It's a huge line of storms. So, definitely dangerous to say the least. What are the dew points? We can pull it up. The dew points currently probably pretty humid. I don't think it's like extremely humid here, but I think it's around the mid-60s. Yeah, it's about mid-60s, low 70s. Actually near Chicago, it's pretty humid. It's around the low 70s. It's almost 75 along the Great Lakes. Actually very humid up there. But still pretty humid out in front of this line. I mean, the 2 points don't have a huge play in this line of storms. Yeah, they can do some things in terms of the longevity, but I think there's a little shallow layer as we get closer to Indianapolis, so that should weaken the storms out a bit, but yeah. All right, Justin, I'll check that out. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think we had really any traffic cams in Illinois. The ones that there are pretty minimal. This is kind of what it looks like, though. This is one of the live cams that we, or one of the cameras at least that we have. This is looking off to the west, so you'll notice a bit of the cloud activity back there. No definitive shelf cloud though yet. That's back over in far western parts of Indiana. But as the storms do approach, there'll probably be a better view of it, is my guess. That's near Covington. Cameras aren't the best, but there will be at least some sort of view on it. So we'll have that view as these storms do continue to move off to the east. See you later, Shelly, by the way. Appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for the help. Do you think that the worst case scenario, this could be an outbreak? It already pretty much has been an outbreak. That's pretty much a given. This has been a severe weather outbreak. There's no doubt about that. I don't think this has been a derecho. Again, I've mentioned this before. This line of storms, I'm almost positive, is not 240 miles long. I'll check. They sometimes make exceptions, but I don't think they would on this one. We'll do a displacement test here. Do the entire line. Oops. Somebody wants to get out a calculator and do this, or actually I can do it. Do some math. So 77 plus 25 plus 55 plus 65-ish. That's about 222. I mean, it could technically be. This is currently about 222 miles long. With displacement. I mean, we're not talking about north to south. We're talking about actual displacement with the entire line here. There's a chance that this could have been a derecho, but it's still under 240. But I wouldn't rule it out. We'll see what the National Weather Service and the what they say, but it isn't too far off from it at this point. We have a new damage report coming out of Cumberland County in Illinois. This is a spotter reporting numerous trees down as well as limbs, with winds increasing and visibility near zero. So there's near zero instability. That is southwest of Charleston. We also have a damage report coming out of the Champaign County area of a 3-inch tree limb broken, or at least some tree limbs are broken there. There's also a lot of power outages, so that's obviously a given. There's going to be a lot of power outages across this region, unfortunately. These storms will continue to march out to the east towards Indianapolis. There's a good chance this could have been a derecho, though, just from how it's gone so far, and yeah, this is probably going to be classified. I mean, it's going to be close. It's been going for a while. It's been producing some numerous widespread damaging winds. I mean, it has pretty much all the characteristics at this point. But yeah, it's probably going to be classified as a derecho. We'll see. They'll be close. And I'm not the National Weather Service, so I don't make that official call. So I don't know. But it's probably pretty close to it. New power outage update for Illinois. It's up to 84,000 people without power. That does not account for any of the power outages that have just occurred in Champaign or Charleston or anywhere on the east side of the state. So those are the latest on the power outages that we just had come in. It's up to about 85,000. That's about where it's at. Sangamon County, which is near Springfield, Illinois, is really the most power outage county at this current time. That's about half the county without power there. That is the latest there. Otherwise, all the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have are pretty much in Illinois, if not western Indiana. We have one down south of Nashville, but really the biggest concern right now is the line of storms that's going through here in parts of Illinois and Indiana. Also, good reminder, if you're in Indiana, anywhere out in front of these storms and you've not been hit yet, make sure you are charging up your phones, replace batteries and flashlights, make sure they're at least working, because damaging winds again up to 80 miles per hour is possible. Yeah, this line will probably start to weaken as it goes into Indiana, but it will still be producing some pretty high winds, and threat for maybe a little bit of large hail is not out of the question, but I think it will really transition to more of a damaging wind threat. There could be a chance for a couple isolated tornadoes in this line, but I think that tornado risk will continue to decrease over the next hour. It's been pretty low for the last about 45 minutes. It really peaked there around 12 to 1 o'clock across areas like Springfield, Champaign as well, west of Champaign primarily, back near Bloomington. Those are the areas that we saw tornado warnings. But all these blue boxes, again, are damage reports. We've had a ton of them. I only can go over so many, but we have a lot of damage reports that have already been confirmed here across Illinois. Again, possible derecho that just occurred down in Illinois and as well as into northeast Missouri and southeast Iowa, and it's going to continue to march towards Indianapolis, so definitely not out of the question here. Because these winds have been pretty much numerous to widespread across a pretty large line of the storm so far. Line of storms, excuse me. Yeah, so there will be a second area of storms after this. Obviously, this is the first line. We'll not see another line of storms. Obviously, if you're back down near Evansville or Louisville, you've already seen a line. You're going to see a second line of storms, and that would be from this. This will all start crashing down to the south and east. This activity is moving east. But what's not really as concerning, but is a bit of a concern later today, will be that we'll see a couple of cells develop back over here in southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Those could produce some damaging winds and perhaps some large hail. There is a low chance for a tornado, but I'd say that risk is very low. We've already had a hail report near Milwaukee of nickel-sized hail, so there's some hail starting to increase up there, but and the severe weather threat overall will start to increase a little bit back near Chicago, northern Illinois, and as well as southern Wisconsin, maybe near Milwaukee. So stay alert over there if you're in those areas, but the severe weather potential is really the highest currently in western parts of Indiana. I don't know what's going on in the chat, but all right. Interesting stuff. Again, there are moderators for a reason. If there's any inappropriate stuff happening in the chat or anything like that, then we want to make sure that everything is staying tame in the chat. Too crazy is happening. Power outages are now up to 100,000 in Illinois, so they're just going to keep increasing. I wouldn't be surprised if we got close to 150,000 without power in Illinois. Champaign in particular, not yet reporting any power outages, but I'm guessing there will probably be that in any time. It could happen in the next few minutes. Actually, no, we do have Champaign power outages. We're up to 7,300 people without power in Champaign County out of 96,000 that are being tracked according to poweroutage.us. So there are power outages now starting to leak in here. So we're getting those reports now in eastern Illinois. This line of storms, again, is still producing damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour in eastern Illinois, and it's about to be moving into western Indiana. Again, if you have any photos or videos, feel free to tweet me on Twitter. And also make sure, again, if you're tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe down below and like the video. Got to find this real quick. All right. We're only 6 subscribers, by the way, from 55,250. Make sure to subscribe if you've not already. And click the bell icon as well so you get notified with the latest videos and forecasts. Again, we do live quite often and frequently. All right, here are the newest reports that we have coming in. They just came in. 62 mile per hour wind gust in Paxton as of 1:34. Wind damage report coming out of St. Joseph of some 3-inch tree limbs down. back near Charleston, we do have a spotter that estimated 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts with a large tree down in the front of a lawn in Coles County. That's near Charleston. And some spotters reporting multiple trees down up to 1 and 2 feet in diameter back over in Cumberland County. So we've had some really high winds. Obviously, a lot of trees down. 80-mile-per-hour winds is obviously very excessive here. We are still watching for that threat for EF0 type, EF1 type damaging winds pretty much. Like if we're comparing a tornado to these damaging winds, that's pretty much what this is. So just make sure that you are prepared. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning as well going into western Indiana. That's going to be near Greencastle. This is going to be for damaging winds now up to 80 miles per hour. So that small little severe thunderstorm warning is for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. Ro, if you want to see it, you can go over my Twitter page at MaxVelocityWX. That's where that shelf cloud is. If not, you can probably just go back a little bit. I mean, it was only about 10 minutes ago, I think, on the stream. I don't have it pulled up anymore, so... Again, power outage is up to 97,000 currently in Illinois, and that's going to probably just keep increasing over the next few hours. No problem, Ro. Oh, by the way, guys, I will not be doing any live streams or videos, probably. I might have a couple videos, but I will not have any live streams between now or after this stream. Between now and July 5th. I am going away for the July 4th weekend. I will be back on July 6th with videos and live streams again, but there will not be anything like that. I will have a video probably today, though. I'll still probably have a video. Even though I'm live right now, I'll have a video out probably around 5:30-ish. So that will be coming out later today. Just giving you a little heads up. So if you didn't want to purchase, last reminder I'm going to say, but if you want to purchase any merchandise from the Flying Trampolines collection, there's a link pinned in the chat, but we have a merchandise store if you want to pick up any of that stuff. Make sure to do that now and not later, because I will not be able to make any more reminders, but that Flying Trampoline stuff will be going away in about a week, if not less than that. I think it's just under a week now. Thanks, Purple. Appreciate it. Just want to throw that out there, but otherwise, back to the weather. And, actually, the one thing I want to do is go to the live cam. We have a live cam view, I believe, of the storm here in western Indiana. Let me go to that real quick. We should have a view of that in western Indiana. Again, new severe thunderstorm warning for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour in western Indiana. This is what it looks like. Again, we don't really have the best view of it. It's a pretty blurry picture, but this is what it looks like in the background of the storm. That is approaching. Again, it's not very impressive, but the traffic cams are usually meant for traffic, not really weather, but it can sometimes show you something. The ones over in Indiana, though, are a little bit lower quality overall, unfortunately. This might be a little bit, this is a little bit better of a view of it. So, a little bit better. Not much different, but at least get the general idea. Again, we had a pretty large shelf cloud, and if you have not already, I'll show it again. I have it pulled up on my Twitter page. This is a shelf cloud from earlier. This is over in Champaign. So, again, very impressive shelf cloud. Quick moving, by the way. Notice how fast it's going. I was in Champaign. This storm is moving about 80 miles per hour, so... this is a pretty clear view of it, though. That's the shelf cloud going through Champaign, Illinois, sent in by Dylan. Yeah. The velocity is crazy. Yeah, it's pretty high winds. But yeah, this is, again, really remarkable. I gotta say that. It's a pretty huge shelf cloud. It's something I've really never seen that large before. It's a huge shelf cloud. Usually the shelf clouds that you're accustomed to are the ones that are humped almost, like just like a little hump. That one's just a massive tidal wave. That's kind of how I described it. All right. If you have any reports, by the way, feel free to leave those in the chat. And any photos, videos, tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. Those links are in the description below. All right. Again, damaging winds currently heading into western Indiana. Damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour are possible. We actually can go ahead and change over to the next radar site that's further off here to the east. And this one looks like from the east. So this is our new radar site they'll be dealing with here for a little while. Damaging wind potential, the highest right now through areas like Rockville, Clinton, Brazil, and Terre Haute, if I'm saying the name right, over in western Indiana. That's where the highest wind speeds will be located, upwards of 80 miles per hour. There is a chance for damaging winds upwards of 70 miles per hour further south and north of that from Danville and Crawfordsville, all the way back through Lafayette. Any damaging winds pretty much to the north, though, will be around 60 miles per hour. So the storms that are going up closer to South Bend and Kokomo, those areas will probably just deal with damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. Again, this line should weaken gradually as it moves off to the east towards Indianapolis, and as well as towards Carmel, and as well as Martinsville. But still stay alert. Damaging winds up to 70, definitely not out of the question there. But otherwise, we got a lot of damage reports. Definitely make sure you're taking these storms very seriously as they continue to move off to the east. Kentucky right now, I know somebody was mentioning, but Kentucky right now is fine. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings south of Nashville for damaging winds around 60 miles per hour. This line is starting to weaken out, so shouldn't be much of a concern. It might still produce damaging winds down into Alabama, but the threat is definitely going down there. So that's what we're looking at currently. All right, I'm going to real quickly take a quick 60-second break. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and like the video, but I'll be back in 60 seconds. I got to real quickly take a bathroom break. I've been live for 3 hours and I've not gone. So I'll be right back in 60 seconds. While I take a quick break, I just wanted to give you a friendly reminder to hit that red button down below and subscribe. That way you never miss an accurate and honest forecast from Max Velocity. Also, make sure to hit that bell icon and click all so you receive all notifications when I go live or I have a video forecast for you. Also, hit the like button down below as well. Helps our page out a lot. And if you're feeling generous and you want to support our page above and beyond, you can become a member for as little as $2.99 per month. All you need to do is click that little join button and you can select from 4 different tiers, which will give you different benefits from bloopers access to exclusive forecasts. You will also get a shout out here on our live stream. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Let's go over to here. Welcome back, everybody. All right, we're back to the Indiana storms. Again, if you're just tuning in, we still have severe storms ongoing across western Indiana. Again, a lot of these currently are producing damaging winds between 60 to 80 miles per hour. These will continue to move off towards areas like Indianapolis. We're going to put a timing guide on here so you get an idea when these storms will arrive. They're moving pretty quickly still. At around 70 miles per hour, they've not really slowed down a whole lot. They have continued to produce some pretty high winds. We're looking at in terms of a timing. So this is the current timing guide right now, moving off to these. So again, all these times are in Central Time. You will have to add an hour to all the times if you are in Eastern Time, which most of Illinois, or most of Indiana, excuse me, is in parts of Eastern Time. So just keep that in mind. But again, these storms are moving off to the east. So timing guide right now, Lafayette's going to be about 3:20 in Eastern Time. Bloomington in Indiana is currently estimated around 3:36 p.m. Indianapolis, 3:45 p.m. Carmel, 3:47 p.m. Greenwood, 3:47 p.m. Lawrence, about 3:50. Kokomo, 3:52. Columbus, about 4 o'clock. Anderson, by around 4:07. And then further off to the east here, like Marion and whatnot in eastern Indiana, it's a lot more uncertain because the line of storms might just weaken out entirely. So, right now, the threat of severe weather will probably be a bit lower further off to the east. And also, the timing might be much later than what it's currently estimated to be. It just depends on how long this line of storms goes, which I don't think it'll be going for much more than just another couple hours. I think it's going to start to weaken. We have a lot of damage reports, though, coming out of these storms. So some of the newest ones that we currently have ongoing here Is in eastern parts of Illinois. We have damaging winds around, or actually, excuse me, we have some damage reports coming out. Some trees down, trees and power lines down. Allerton, we have extensive tree damage reported. Numerous trees down in Homer Lake. Trees and power lines down in Fairmount. And also some trees uprooted or snapped back over in Oakwood. And then back further to the south, most recent report out of Paris, that's in far eastern parts of Illinois, more power lines down. So the storms that are going to be rolling through areas in western sections of Indiana are still producing damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. Those wind speeds, though, should decrease over the next couple of hours as they do continue to march out to the east. I'll be going towards Indianapolis and whatnot. Stay safe, Dallas. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of storm chasers out there. Honestly, the only place that I think would be even reasonable storm chasing, if you're trying to do a long duration storm chase, not just trying to catch one part of the storms, would basically be near Chicago or back down near like Louisville or Evansville. I mean, those are like the two areas, but even then, it's like the line of storms that we're seeing right now, it's moving so quickly. Now, the line of storms down here is much easier to chase. It's moving down towards Evansville and whatnot because it's going slower. The line of storms going towards Indianapolis, it's still going 70 to 80 miles per hour. That's going to outrace you easily, so it's much harder to chase. So if you're back near Chicago, it's much calmer storm chase at that point. Yeah, Purple, the camera sometimes does shake. Just because the desk is a little bit wobbly. Stay safe, Will. Appreciate you tuning in. We're tweeting another photo on Twitter, by the way. We have a lot of photos on Twitter, so if you want to go check those out, go to my Twitter page, at MaxVelocityWX. Has a lot of different stuff on there in terms of reports and whatnot, and some of the photos and videos that we've had so far today. Let's go over here. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and we'll be looking at this for a little bit longer. If you have Radar Mega, can you look at Columbia? What Columbia are we talking about? What state we're talking about here? New severe thunderstorm warning now for the west side of Indianapolis for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. This just been issued. Damaging winds up to 70 is likely as this does approach areas like Greencastle, Martinsville, and Crawfordsville. Those are the main locations in the track of this. Stay safe, Tracy. Yeah, high winds are going through there right now, probably around 70, 80 miles per hour. That's likely the range right now in that area. Tennessee. I don't know where that is still. I'm trying to look for it. Is it a bigger city? We can look together here. Is that in Columbia? I'll look it up on Google to figure out where this is. I don't want to keep looking around. I've never heard of Columbia, Tennessee, so let's see. This is going to be south of Nashville. Okay, so that should make it a bit easier. Oh, I see it now. Yeah, I see it. I don't know if I can show it, though. That's the only problem, so. Yeah, that's a pretty impressive view of the storm. Yeah, the problem is I don't know if I can actually show it on live stream. That's the only thing, but yeah, I do see it. There's actually a couple good views there of it. This one I should be able to show. This one you'll see here. Pretty nice looking view here of the clouds and whatnot. But yeah, that's what we're looking at over in Columbia, Tennessee right now. Pretty impressive storms. But yeah, again, I don't officially know whether I can use some of these or not, but I think I can use most of them. I just don't know. Yeah, pretty good view there over in Columbia, Tennessee, those storms rolling through. Is this a derecho? This could be classified as a derecho, but I don't know yet. I mean, the characteristics are there for it to be a derecho at this point. It's a very extensive line of storms. It's been producing a lot of damage throughout Illinois. My guess is it probably will be classified as a derecho, but again, I'm not the National Weather Service, and I don't 100% know. They usually don't get determined until like the day after anyways. Or a couple days after. Sometimes takes some time. But we do have a moderate risk of severe weather. I believe we're now exiting the moderate risk. I could be mistaken. Yeah, so the line of storms now is exiting the moderate risk of severe weather, which the risks are kind of irrelevant. I mean, they're relevant, but like in this sort of case, it's not really too relevant because there's still a very significant chance of severe weather with numerous damaging winds still being possible throughout areas in western Indiana. So, I mean, we're still looking at damaging winds upwards of 80 miles per hour across parts of western Indiana right now. It's still pretty numerous to widespread. I mean, it's not really back down on that yet, but this line of storms again is going into a less favorable environment. So once it keeps moving off to the east, the further east it goes, the weaker it's going to get from here on out. So once this gets closer to Indianapolis and even eastern Indiana, it's going to become much weaker. That's why if you're in Ohio, you do not have to be as concerned about these storms. Yes, you'll see some storms, but it's not going to be nearly as concerning. So that's one of the nice good news things about this entire thing. Now, I mentioned a couple of the good news things about this as well. The air quality is improving across a large chunk here of Illinois right now. It's improving because of this rain, but it's not going to last forever. But there will be at least a short-term improvement of the air quality, and as well as the drought conditions will be a little bit lesser because of this rain. The negative to all of this, though, is the very high winds that we've been seeing with this entire line of storms, and that's really the biggest negative, is all the damaging winds, and it's produced a ton of damage to this point. Did I say India? I meant to say Indiana, if I said India. Michael, the main concern up there would just be damaging winds, but those storms for the most part are weakening out. Here's a better look at the Chicago area. So, yeah, mostly weakening out storms here. You'll have maybe a little bit better of a chance this afternoon, but right now the short-term risk seems to be pretty low at this time. I think most of that storm activity is weakening out up there. Stay safe, Tracy. Make sure you're staying away from windows as well if you're in any of these severe thunderstorm warnings, especially in western Indiana. Grass is turning brown. That is not a good sign. Yeah, that would indicate that there is indeed a drought. Friendly reminder, if you're just tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe down below to the channel. We're 22 subscribers from 55,300. Also, make sure to like the stream. Helps get this out to more people, and it is completely complimentary to do. We are currently now up to 100,000 people without power in Illinois. That's the latest update. That number is likely going to go way up because we have not even gotten the accounted area of eastern Illinois yet. Eastern Illinois still shows about 0 people, but there's been tons of power outages here, and this is about 30 minutes old, so we should get a new update here momentarily about how many power outages there are in Illinois. Is there going to be a tornado in Illinois? The tornado risk now in Illinois is very low. Same thing with Indiana. It is very low. It's very low across anywhere in these areas. The highest tornado risk really for the rest of the day, I would say, is probably over back in the high plains, which is nowhere near here. That's the next risk of severe weather. And don't forget, I mean, this is not like the one area that we're watching today for severe weather. It's a very large area. I mean, it's huge. We're talking about not just here over in the Midwest, but we're also talking about back over in the high plains near Denver. Very active stuff here. We also have a severe thunderstorm watch now down in Alabama, so it just, it continues. It's not really going to get any better anytime soon. We also have a quarter-sized hail report back near Milwaukee, by the way, so there was a severe storm up there briefly near the Milwaukee area. Yeah, really the best chance for a tornado at this point. I don't really have a best chance area because it's just so low across the board now. Here's the tornado risk from the Storm Prediction Center. And they still indicate a 5% chance down here. I don't think it's going to be that big, though. I think this is going to be mainly damaging winds. Perhaps a brief tornado, but I think the risk is really low down there anyways. I would honestly probably keep this to a 2% probability at most. North of Chicago, I don't think we'll see a tornado there. It's a very low chance. Again, I think maybe the high plains would be our next chance for any sort of tornadic activity. So, we're looking at there. Yeah, I think the tornado risk is a little bit too high for those in Evansville and Mount Vernon, especially since those storms are going to be weakening a bit more. And in addition to that, I think these storms are really just going to be hitting home with damaging winds more than anything. We'll check out the velocities here. Yeah, there's no really pockets of rotation even to begin with right now. So, yeah, I think really from here on out, it's mostly going to be damaging winds. That's like the summary here. Could be a tornado, but it's a very low chance. And damaging winds that we've been seeing so far this morning and afternoon have been pretty much as if they're an EF0 or EF1 type tornado. Those have been the wind speeds. So that's always good, SP. That's always good. All right, let's go over to Twitter. I'm going to see if we have any other reports coming in. If you have any photos or videos, feel free to tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. Those links, again, are in the description below. You can also follow me over there while you're at it. I'll link it in the chat just to make it easier if you have any photos or videos. You can tweet me on Twitter. Again, make sure if you have any photos or videos, or if you're taking any, make sure that you are taking them safely. The link will be in the chat, though, if you would like to send me anything. But yeah, we have a few photos and videos already over there. This is easily the best one that we've had so far today. Is this one here. Again, this is the shelf cloud in Champaign, Illinois. About an hour ago, probably now, almost. But yeah, this is the shelf cloud. Huge shelf cloud, very impressive. To say the least, it again looks like almost like a tidal wave. In comparison to a lot of the outflow boundaries that we see, or a lot of the shelf clouds that we see, they're usually like humps like this. They usually don't go any taller than that. I mean, it's usually pretty small. And also, notice how fast it's going. It's going so fast here off to the, from west to east in Champaign. That was from earlier, though. That was approximately 40 minutes ago when that was sent in. The storm itself that went through, I'd say it's been a good, I don't know, hour or so now since that storm went through Champaign, so... We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for those in Bloomington near Bedford as well. This is for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour and quarter-sized hail. Vincini's is also included in that. I might not be saying the name right, but that is also included. Indianapolis will not be included in a severe thunderstorm warning probably for the next, I'd say, 20 minutes. And then you'll probably get into one. But right now, the wind threat has obviously been the main concern. Currently, though, the line of storms is beginning to weaken a bit. So we are going to start to see damaging winds going down a bit. It's still going to be significant, though, near the Indianapolis area. Somewhere between 60 to 70 miles per hour is very likely to occur there. But overall, the threat should start to diminish a bit. And we'll still stay live here for a little bit longer, see what happens here near Indianapolis. But the threat, again, should be going down here over the next couple of hours. Which is good news. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be answering, again, a few questions here and there. Power outages in Illinois are now up to 115,000. So 116,000, actually, for power outages now in Illinois. Yeah, this is according to poweroutage.us. This is a pretty good view of it, but we do have now up to 116,000 without power. Any of these colored boxes here, other than blue, do indicate some power outages. Red is the highest amount, so we're around 50% in Sangamon County. And back over on the eastern side of the state, these are still going up over here. But Champaign County, for example, is probably about a good 15% without power now. That number will probably still climb. Douglas County is about 40% without power, at least from what's tracked. So that's the latest from the power outage standpoint. A lot of power outages so far, and those are just expected to pretty much continue. Go up. Just a friendly reminder, if you're tuning in, there is a new severe thunderstorm watch that was issued about 10 minutes ago. That's for northern Alabama until 7 p.m. That is going to be mainly including Mobile. Or, sorry, not Mobile. As Muscle. I don't know why I thought that was Mobile. I was about to say Mobile's in the southern part of the state. Mobile as well, or excuse me, Muscle as well as... let me just go down to the severe thunderstorm watch. Let's make this a little bit easier. Huntsville, Florence, Russellville, I think it was. I don't know what I was reading. But these are the areas included. Decatur, Town Creek. I don't know what the one with M is, but yeah, I might have to get some new glasses. There's like the severe thunderstorm watch that was posted on Twitter from the Storm Prediction Center has like overlapped names, so it made it look weird. Yeah, that's the new watch. Back down that direction. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for 80-mile-per-hour damaging winds for Greencastle, west of Indianapolis. So new severe thunderstorm warning inside of another existing severe thunderstorm warning here. As a brand new one there. Again, for Greencastle and near Martinsville. We're currently up to about 20 severe thunderstorm warnings. Fish, yeah, you're correct. Anything off to the east, the storms are going to continue to move off to the east, and they're going to continue to weaken in nature. Highest winds that have been so far with these storms, I believe the highest confirmed has been around 80, but we've had reports as high as 100 back over on the very far western side of the state. So, yeah, that was back over in far western Illinois. That was in Hancock County, where we had the highest wind speeds. See if I have any other reports coming in on Twitter. If you're near Greencastle, west of Indianapolis, damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour are possible. Air quality continues to decrease across areas in the northeast United States as well. And air quality is really just going to keep getting worse. But the only good news, I've mentioned this a few times, but the good news with this system is that the air quality is actually getting a little bit better here in the Midwest with any rain that's falling. It's not huge differences, but it's, you know, it's something. We'll actually see this. I'll show you guys on the radar here. This is the smoke density near the surface. And this is what it looks like. So this is the basically the air quality. It's actually improving with this rain. So the further east it moves, it kind of clears it out a bit. So you'll notice even near Chicago tonight, there should be a little bit clearer skies in a sense, but there will still be some decreased air quality. This is the integrated smoke as well. So notice how that rain goes through. It does actually help the air quality a bit. Back over in the northeast, I don't think there's going to be any improvement there, but that's some of the good news with this entire system. Bad news is, though, the air quality is still kind of going to lurk around a little bit. But the other thing with this is that it's bringing a lot of beneficial rain, which is overall going to help the drought situation here as well. We have a new wind damage report coming out of Terre Haute. Again, I don't want to say the name. That's in Vigo County in Indiana, far western Indiana. There's multiple reports of widespread trees and power lines down. Estimated winds between 70 to 80 miles per hour. So there's still widespread damage happening here in western Indiana, and that's going to again continue over the next several hours. So that's the latest report there. Wind damage will continue. Stay safe, Oblivion. Stay safe. Yeah, if you're curious about the Derecho, again, this could be a Derecho. I think it does classify as it, but again, I'm not the National Weather Service, so I don't know. But I think it does classify as a Derecho. Should, at least. We'll see, though. We will see. How to send photos on Twitter? Yeah, you can just tweet me on Twitter. You can also message me. I will try to look at messages. I didn't realize nobody's actually messaged me. But if you have any photos or videos, the best thing to do is just at me, at MaxVelocityWX. That's the best way to do it. So. We have a new tornado warning that has been issued. This is going to be for parts near Ottawa. So seek shelter immediately away from windows, lowest floor possible if you're in this area. And brand new tornado warning issued for this area. This is near Lamoille as well as Arlington. Go to the velocities here. So rotation, back a little bit as well. Yeah, rotation's going to be located right out here. So it's going off to the east. This is your area of rotation near Lamoille. So if you're anywhere in Lamoille, make sure you seek shelter immediately away from windows lowest floor possible, as well as Arlington in Illinois. Yeah, if you know anybody in this area, make sure you give them a call, text, make sure they're all right. But again, Lamoille is where we have a new tornado warning. This is, again, moving off currently to the east. It's a very interesting looking cell as well. If we go over to the, that's the velocities, but this is current reflectivity. So it's part of the storms that are right now near Mendota as well. This is an area that we've covered before where we've had some very massive hail. So it's a pretty frequent area of severe weather, but that is where we currently have rotation located. So again, tornado warning does include Lamoli and as well as Arlington. So we'll be moving off to the east-northeast, going towards areas like Irville, Mendota. Paw could be in the track of this as well. But it's a fairly slow-moving area of storms. Just kind of keep that in mind here. If we zoom out a little bit, this is a fairly slow-moving area of storms. You'll notice how far off to the east this line is. This is producing high winds. This area here northwest of Ottawa is definitely going to be something that we have to still watch, but it's much, much slower. It's way behind that line of storms. And this was originally part of that line of storms, this like little area here. So definitely something to keep in mind here. But again, rotation currently located over Lamoli, near 92, where the rotation is currently located. Again, if you're included in this warning, seek shelter away from windows and lowest floor possible. Let's move off to these towards Mendota as well. So Mendota will be in the track of this. Yeah, but overall, I mean, this storm in particular, it's actually going to be probably going outside of the tornado warning in a few minutes, going to the northeast near like Sublette and whatnot. But one other thing to keep in mind with this tornado warning cell is if we go out a little bit, you'll notice that the watch itself, it goes up through Chicago, but these storms that we're seeing here are going very slow, and they're not going to be getting anywhere close to Aurora or like Elgin or whatever anytime soon. So the next storms that we'll be watching here in parts of the northern Illinois will be up here, these ones that will develop. These could actually produce some severe weather, but we haven't seen anything yet develop. We'll see a little bit more storm activity develop over the next few hours, though. It's going to be more of a late afternoon, early evening threat across areas in northern Illinois and as well as southern Wisconsin. So that'll be our next threat for severe weather. But again, we have a little bit of rotation near Lamoli, moving off to the northeast more than anything, going towards Sublette. We might get a new tornado warning here, but rotation at this current time is a bit more on the broader side of things. I'll be going towards Sublette. Just a friendly reminder, by the way, we do not have Storm Chaser Vince with us today. I think he might be going live later today, but I'm not entirely sure. But he was not chasing this event. And honestly, I don't think of any Storm Chasers are really chasing this event. To be honest, I think there's a lot of, like, probably Storm Chasers that might be chasing this, but, like, just going through one storm and that's it. There's a lot of these storms that are rolling through off to the east, the ones that are going through Indiana now, they're just moving so fast, it's really difficult to actually chase it. This is in Bureau County, Illinois, just an FYI. So if you're familiar with the area, again, it's pretty far west of Chicago. Really no short-term concern to Chicago with this by any means, or anywhere in the suburbs. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning, which will probably replace this tornado warning for Mendota, as well as Irville, Paw. Those areas are included in that severe thunderstorm warning. And that'll be going until about 3:15 Central Time, so about an hour. Mainly for damaging winds, though. Possible tornado threat, though. There could be a tornado in this area. I'm guessing this tornado warning will likely be let to expire once this rotation kind of exits this area. That's the rotation, though. It's moving kind of east-northeast, but it's going a bit more to the northeast right now towards Sublette. But again, broad rotation at this current time. No problem, Patty. Rockford will be fine for right now. Again, anywhere in the Chicago suburbs, really no concern in the short term. The only concern that I have right now for like an area like Rockford would be later today with that, again, that second round of storms that I've been mentioning. That'll be something to watch for later today, though. It's not, again, really a short-term concern at this point. So, we're currently looking at. It's a lower threat there. Until later. How's it going, Adam? All right, here's the latest radar scan. So again, rotation's moving off to the north and east, but again, very broad. I'm probably going to go off the storm because I don't think it's really too impressive here, but stay alert. Again, stay in your safe place if you're near the Mendota area and Sublette and Irville. Again, possible tornado does exist with this, but it's a low threat right now. It's fairly weak rotation overall, in my opinion. So I'd say in your safe place, away from windows, lowest floor possible. But again, I am not too concerned about this storm. I'm going to go and change the title back. Severe weather coverage. And the tornado warning cell of this entire thing. It's pretty broad rotation. If we see anything develop, though, over the next few minutes, I'll go back to it. But for right now, we're going to go back over to the south and east, I believe. Maybe not. Or software froze. Refresh it real quick. Just sent a picture? Alright, I'll check it out. Yeah, again, if you have any photos or videos, feel free to tweet me out on Twitter. We have a tornado watch that was also just issued. For those back over in Denver, pretty large area, actually. This is going to be back over in parts of the High Plains. So back over into northeast Colorado, southeast Wyoming, western Nebraska. The new tornado watch was just issued there. And that will be for later today's threat, which I probably will not be live for, but that is another threat that'll be ongoing today. Here's the line of storms going right now through areas near Indianapolis. Again, we have damaging wind potential up to 80 miles per hour with this area of storms. We've had multiple reports of really high winds and as well as really significant damage. Danville had a ton of damage reports, by the way. There are trees down on homes back over in Tilton. So near Danville, extreme damage over there. Memorial Bridge is blocked down by trees. Multiple trees on buildings. Some people trapped over in Oakwood. Georgetown, trees down on homes. Power lines down over in Paris. Trees down, and as well as power lines down in Seidel. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts confirmed there. Tree fell on a vehicle, no injuries. Over in Vermilion Regional, that's in the airport, I believe. And also more trees down on an intersection. Again, multiple trees in a home and building. People trapped in Oakwood, Illinois. If you know anybody in this area, make sure that they are. Make sure to contact them. Make sure they're all right, because there's a lot of damage reports there. Severe tree damage back over in Champaign. I mean, we have damage reports all over the state of Illinois. There's a lot of damage. Just make sure, if you know anybody in Illinois, they're all right, because there's a ton of damage reports there. Trees down and people trapped is not something that you want to see. Definitely concerning. And also to add on to that, the power outage map now is up to about 140,000 people without power in Illinois. So the power outages just keep going up. They're going to keep going up probably for the next hour or two until they start getting repaired and whatnot. But there's a lot of power lines down and whatnot. It's going to probably take a little while for these to all get, fixed and whatnot. Thank you, Rochelle, for subscribing. Appreciate it. And a friendly reminder, if you're tuning in for the first time, make sure to subscribe down below. We're 2 subscribers right now from 55,300. Also, make sure to like the stream. Helps get this out to more people. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the chat. I'll be answering a few of them. And not guaranteed to answer all of them, but I'll be answering a few anyways. Again, storms are approaching Indianapolis. That's what we're primarily watching for now as this line approaches Indianapolis. Damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour still remain a threat and a possibility. The good news right now is that this line of storms is weakening. The bad news is it's not weakening quick enough, because we're going to see that damaging wind potential in Indianapolis really still stay strong. And then once it gets past Indianapolis, if not even before it possibly, it could start to weaken. So it is still in a weakening trend. This entire line of storms will weaken over the next couple hours. It'll remain intense and strong really on the southern end. This will continue down to the south and east through Louisville and Evansville, as most likely a pretty severe line of storms still. So severe weather is by no means done today. The area west of Indianapolis is still definitely concerning. Yeah, so the tornado warning back over in Illinois right now, I kind of mentioned this before, but near Lamoli, the rotation's pretty broad right now, and it's still fairly broad. The rotation's no longer even in the tornado warning, so the rotation's actually back up here now. So again, I'd stay in your safe place, away from windows for the time being, but the rotation is definitely at this point weakening out. It's broad. We could still see a tornado, but it's gonna be a low chance. Again, if anything changes, I'll go there, but right now, nothing really to see there. Derechos typically only happen a couple times a year. They're not very common. They are very uncommon, to be honest. How's it going, Cynthia? I've been live for about 3.5 hours. I've been live since about 11 a.m., which is pretty early for me. I usually don't go live too early, but today was a bit of an earlier live stream. Been a very active day so far. Chicago's not good. You'll still have a chance for severe weather later today. It's a low chance, but a couple isolated storms will fire up. Those will develop during the late afternoon, early evening. So maybe a little bit of hail and damaging winds, but that's about it there. Yeah, if you're in Indianapolis, I still have a bit more of a short-term concern here of damaging winds. Even though the line of storms is weakening, there is still a chance for damaging winds. There is now a new warning now for Indianapolis for damaging winds around 70 miles per hour. So make sure, again, that you stay away from windows, lowest floor possible, interior room of your home or building. As these storms do approach, we've had a lot of reports of trees down on homes, buildings. People are trapped in some areas back over in eastern Illinois from the reports that we've seen. Trees down on vehicles even outside, so definitely concerning stuff. It was a good reminder during any of these severe thunderstorm warnings that you are staying away from windows, lowest floor possible. Read it as if it's a tornado warning in this instance. These are definitely pretty dangerous storms. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Roll, how's it going? How will Denver be today? I honestly have not really looked at the high plains at all, but I will check real quick. I'm not going to lie. I've really not looked at the high plains at all today. And the main reason why is because the Midwest event was going to be very significant. But areas near Denver will start seeing storms fire off probably around 2 to 3 o'clock Mountain Time. I would expect large hail to be the main concern. We could see a little bit of damaging winds and perhaps a few tornadoes as well. So there's a tornado risk there, which is hence why we have a tornado watch there as well. But yeah. And I've really not looked to the high plains at all in the past couple of days. It's been primarily, the main focus has been the Midwest. It's where we've been watching a lot of the action really unfold in the past 12 hours now. This area of storms has been going all morning. And it's going to start weakening again over the next couple hours, but yeah, it's been wild. No problem, Real. Patrick, these storms will not necessarily entirely weaken near Louisville, but they will become weaker. I'll actually see if we can... I'll pull up a future radar on here. Give you an idea of the timing. Over to here while we have a second. This is the timing here. Future radar. So this is what it looks like right now. So this is the line of storms as of about 3 o'clock, which is honestly, again, the computer models are way behind on this line of storms because they're not accounting for how fast this line is. The line of storms is moving about 70 miles per hour. This is probably accounting for like 50 miles per hour, but Louisville could get impacted around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. But again, it shouldn't be as severe as what you saw earlier today. And that storm activity should remain at a pretty minimal, I'd say, extent. Should just be mainly isolated damaging winds, maybe some hail as well to go along with it, but mainly damaging winds up to 60 to maybe 70 miles per hour. And by the way, we do have another risk of severe weather for the next couple of days. I'm going to pull this up real quick. We're still live streaming, but I just want to pull this up real quick. We do have a severe weather potential for tomorrow. It is very large, by the way. Look at this thing. This is massive. This goes all the way from about the high plains back through the Ohio Valley and the southeast. This is going to be primarily for large hail and damaging winds. The tornado risk is pretty much zero across areas in the Ohio Valley, but it's a little bit higher back over in the high plains. And then going into I have to figure out what today is. Today is Thursday. Today is actually tossing trampolines on trees Thursday. I forgot. Tomorrow's flying fences Friday, so that's what we have tomorrow. And then on Scary Storm Saturday, we have another threat in the Ohio Valley. I will have a video out on this particularly in about 2 hours. I've not yet made it, but I'll make it after this live stream. 2 to 3 hours, I'll have a video out on the severe weather potential for tomorrow. I'll have that out for you, so stay tuned on that. That'll be coming out. I will have a video out today, and then after today, I will probably not have any videos or live streams until at least July 5th. I might have a video in between if there's anything significant, but again, I'm going away for the 4th of July, so I'll have my setup still to an extent. I'll have my laptop. Which again, I do everything on a laptop, by the way. I have to buy a new laptop at some point, so I have to make a pretty big investment on that. But I do have to get a new laptop for live streaming because this computer's become pretty slow. I've had it for a couple of years now, but yeah, I'll have to get a new laptop. And laptops are honestly the best thing for me since I don't go away a lot, but I do go different places a ton. So just makes it easier to be able to do videos and stuff like that on the go. But I'll have to do that at some point in the near future. Probably either the tail end of the summer or maybe during the fall. I'll have to get a new laptop. The next Storm Prediction Center update is in half an hour. About 30 minutes. And I will probably at least be live through that 30 minutes. I'll be live at least until that Storm Prediction Center update. Because the storms right now, they're about to go through Indianapolis, so might as well wait to see what kind of happens here and unfolds with these high winds. But again, the line of storms, you'll notice the velocities, they are very like dull green almost now, which indicates much lower wind speeds overall. Now, there could still be some higher wind speeds near the surface, but they are definitely weaker at this point than before. Here's your downburst wind potential as well. So it's still around 60 miles per hour, give or take maybe upwards of 65, but it's definitely, again, weakening out right now as it goes towards Indianapolis, which is, again, great news. Gotta love it. Effingham is right now kind of winding down already, so it's mostly just rain and lightning, maybe a little bit of gusty winds, but nothing severe right now. Stay safe out there, by the way. Oh, truck driving can be a little bit difficult sometimes, especially with the weather. Tornado warning for those back over in northern Illinois, by the way. I'm pretty surprised it's still ongoing, but we're going to check this out real quick, just in case anything's developed here, which nothing has. So, again, it's more of a wind threat now, right, in northern Illinois, so near the Mendota, Lamoli area, north of Cherry. And in the Troy Grove and Sublette area, there is still an ongoing threat of damaging winds, but at this current time, it's really not as much of a concern for a tornado risk. It's really broadened out. Still maybe a low-end threat for an isolated tornado down the road, but that threat should still remain fairly low for the next little while. And then, again, these storms will continue to move off to the east towards Indianapolis. These are the ones that we're still watching for a damaging wind threat as they move off to the east. But again, weakening line of storms. That's the good news so far. The only thing is the storms that are further down to the south, so the ones going towards Evansville, for example, and Mount Carmel, are still producing higher winds. These are actually still maintaining its intensity. These are still fairly strong and severe, producing damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour. And I don't foresee this weakening as quickly as the ones are back up in Indiana. Let's just kind of put on the velocities here. But yeah, you'll notice here, actually near Allendale right now, pretty high area of wind here, near St. Francis and Allendale. So there's definitely still some high winds here. That's pushing down to the south-southeast, going towards Hazleton. And so that will still remain a concern for high winds. And then they'll eventually go towards areas like Oakland City, Linville, and Boonville, and eventually going into Kentucky. Actually, it's about to cross over into Indiana first, and then it'll go towards Kentucky. So that will still maintain its intensity for a little while. But the line of storms back up near Indianapolis is definitely going to be a bit weaker. We'll weaken out a bit. Aurora, Illinois, anywhere in the Chicago area is currently fine from severe weather. There's an isolated chance later today, so late afternoon, early evening. There could be a couple storms that produce some large hail and damaging winds. But again, it's a low threat overall, and it's going to be pretty isolated in nature as well. Further reminder, if you're just tuning in, again, make sure to subscribe down below, and as well as like the live stream, and also click the bell icon down below so you're notified with the latest live streams and video forecasts. The purple and the velocity, that is usually just kind of like a little glitch. I think we can pull it up on here. Yeah, it's just kind of glitching out. It's nothing like crazy. It's not reading the velocities basically correctly. See here, it says RF. I believe it's some sort of error, but that happens quite often with velocities radars. But you'll notice like this is the area of the storms right now. It's estimated around 30, 40, maybe 50 miles per hour. I think it's higher than that. I think it's probably closer to 60 to 70 at the surface, but the line is definitely weakening out. And as it approaches Indianapolis, the severe weather threats should definitely be much lower. No problem. Yeah, that's actually a question I don't get asked really ever, which is kind of interesting. I show the velocities quite often. I never mention what it is because it's usually irrelevant, but yeah, the heat dome will continue in the southern plains in the southeast United States. Pretty typical, but I'll be talking about more on that in my video forecast today, which will be out again in about 2-3 hours. And a reminder, tornado watch has been issued for those in northeast Colorado, western Nebraska, southeast Wyoming until 9 o'clock Mountain Time tonight. That is mainly for the threat of a couple tornadoes, large hail up to 3.5 inches in diameter, and damaging winds, which could be up to 70 miles per hour. So I will not be covering that live most likely, but I'll be covering this for a little bit longer. Just gotta see how this unwinds. But yeah, it's been an active morning, an active afternoon, obviously. We've seen a lot of high winds. I hope everybody's been staying safe as well throughout these storms. The next concern, obviously, is in Indianapolis. That's where we're watching for the threat of damaging winds upwards of about 70 miles per hour, but I think it will be a little bit lower by the time the storms get there. Regardless, though, you should still treat this as if it's a tornado warning as the storms do approach, which will be in the next 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes for Indianapolis. Stay away from windows, lowest floor possible. If you're anywhere basically in the outskirts, here, I'll kind of outline this, but anywhere in this area here, definitely get to your safe place now. If you're in this area here, you got about 3 minutes or less. I'll get to your safe place, though, really relatively soon if you're in the Indianapolis area, because this line of storms will be rolling through within the next few minutes. The line of storms, again, is going east at about 70 miles per hour. It's very quick moving. Indianapolis, more like Windianapolis today. JJ, I usually use the storm relative velocities, which is usually on the higher quality of things. This is high definition velocities. And by the way, going into July, we'll be doing a couple of streams using Radar Omega. I'm pretty excited about that. Going into July, you're officially partnering up with Radar Omega in July. So cool stuff is coming with that. We'll be using that in our live streams a bit more. I mean, nothing's changing other than us just using that radar, but we'll use this still a little bit. But pretty excited to use that. A lot of cool stuff on Radar Omega that we can use. Yeah, if you have any photos or videos, again, feel free to tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX. But again, this line of storms right now near Indianapolis is definitely weakening out quite quickly. Let's see if we I want to see if we have any live cams of this area. Yeah, so right now in Indianapolis in particular, there really isn't a whole lot of a good view on this storm, but it's not nearly as, like, there isn't this huge tidal wave shelf cloud, at least from what I'm seeing. Like that what we saw back over in Champaign. Yeah, it seems like right now, again, these storms over in Indianapolis are definitely weakening really quickly. If you're over in eastern Indiana, the storms will be weaker over there. So if you're in like Fort Wayne or Richmond, Huntington, the storms will be weaker over there in nature. Tornado warning has been canceled, by the way, for northern parts of Illinois. So that's no longer ongoing. We're currently just on severe thunderstorm warnings for this very large area. That'll be going until pretty well. I mean, it's going to be a continuing threat this afternoon, but the severe thunderstorm watch for a large chunk of Illinois goes until 5 o'clock. That will likely be condensed to northern Illinois. And then the other severe thunderstorm watch for those in western Indiana will probably be going for a while. It's going until 7 o'clock. It'll probably end a little bit early, but that's 7 o'clock central, so 8 o'clock Eastern time. But that's going to be really just mainly for the threat of damaging winds, large hail, maybe an isolated tornado. The isolated tornado risk is low, but the greatest chance for that is down here. And I mentioned it before, but I really do not foresee the tornado risk down here in southern parts of Illinois or Indiana being that, like, risky at this point. I mean, that's a weird term for it, but I don't think it'll be that concerning. I really think it's going to be a very low threat, maybe an isolated brief tornado out of one of those storms, but it's mostly just damaging winds from here on out with any of the storms that we see for the rest of the afternoon. The only exception, again, is the high plains insanity that we've been seeing, the damaging wind potential back over in Colorado, Wyoming, and as well as Nebraska. That is where we could see a chance for a couple tornadoes, which one could be strong. So otherwise, that's pretty much what we're looking at. But again, I think the line of storms right now going through Indianapolis is weakening quite quickly. I'm saying that a lot, but I'm pretty confident in it. I mean, it's still probably producing some damaging winds, but it's definitely weakening very quickly. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of activity here that's too crazy in Indianapolis. Weaker overall. Honestly, with that being said, I think we're probably actually going to end the live stream a bit early. Yeah, I'm going to end the live stream now. I want to get my video done so we can have a video later today, which is going to probably take a couple hours anyways. But I'm going to end the live stream there. Again, make sure you're staying safe. Stay alert. Have multiple ways to receive alerts from the National Weather Service. Again, the line of storms right now is weakening out entirely, so I'm not that concerned for those in Indianapolis at this point for really high damaging winds. Just stay away from windows, lowest floor possible. But damaging winds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour still remain possible, but the threat is really lowering here. I thought it would stay a little bit more together, but it's actually weakened out quite considerably. And I think that trend is just going to continue here in Indiana. So again, if you're anywhere in central eastern Indiana, stay alert. But again, this line of storms will continue to weaken as it moves off to the east. Back down further to the south, we are still noticing high winds across areas near Evansville, Tell City, Princeton. Those areas will be in the track of high winds. This part of the line will continue to remain intense, so we'll still see some high damaging winds there. So just make sure you're staying alert and have multiple ways to receive alerts. That's really what you have to do now. Before I go, make sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe if you've not already. Quick reminder before I do leave, if you want to, this is the last time I'm going to remind anybody because I'm not going to be able to do anything over my little vacation. But again, we have our flying trampoline collection out on our website. This is going away entirely in a couple, or basically July 5th, I think it will be the last day you can buy the flying trampoline stuff. If you're curious and you're interested in it, make sure to get it now. I'll have another collection probably similar to this at some point down the road, but it will not be anywhere identical to this. We also have a Tornadic Supercell collection for a hat. We have different colors, 5 different colors. Very cool little hat. It's embroidered, so very high quality shirts and everything. You can check this all out. We have mugs and stuff like that, cheaper stuff, whatever you want to do. I'll link it in chat if you're curious. And in the next live stream, if you do end up getting something on merchandise, I'll put an alert on the screen. But other than that, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Have a great, safe rest of your day, and we'll see you guys all again soon. Again, I'll have a video out in a couple hours, so stay tuned for that. That'll be around, I would say probably around 5:30 Central Time is probably when that video will go out. But it could be a little bit earlier than that. We will see. All right, have a great day. We'll see you guys all again soon. Thanks for watching.